Scenes. Oh, hi guys.
Hello,
It's Graham,
it's Ewan.
and we're in the mix.
We're in the mix.
We're joining you in media res.
We're in the cooker.
We were talking about doing game stuff, and then we thought, I don't know, and then we just got right into it.
We just riffed a bit.
We're going to throw you right into the mix with some dialogue, and we'll spin off for there. We
Yes.
are doing games content, bro.
Yes.
Talk about video games.
Who thought?
Let's fucking go. Scenes are ongoing.
Scenes.
Video games might come out. That's happening this year.
Video games are coming out. You know, we've been playing video games. That's a new development.
I can't believe
That must be a new
Me
development.
and you have picked up it, definitely. Like, mine's sort of been an ongoing thing, but occasionally, like, I'm starting a game and finishing a game,
Yes.
which is like fucking sources of spotty on that
I'm
one.
expecting-
You've been playing video games.
I'm expecting to finish a game. you know.
That's like DEFCON 1, essentially.
It's a little bit like phone the press.
Swap the presses,
Literally.
essentially.
Phone them, let them know, get an interview.
I can't
No.
believe it. How is this happening, this modern economy?
Bro, I don't know.
Like, insane. So you've played and finished the game? You played Miles Morales?
I did play Miles Morales because, what was I doing? I was like, I should play some games.
Yeah, you were talking to me about this, and I'm like, you should play Miles because it's like short.
I knock it out. I did knock it out. It is mid AF.
Yeah, you're not super keen. I
wasn't super keen. Nah, I think when I get to 2, because the combat in Miles already annoyed me a little bit, so 2's gonna hate. I'm gonna hate 2.
I've always said that. Yeah,
I'm
you probably
gonna
not
hate 2.
the combat 2.
Why change 1? 1 was already annoying, but like, why change it even more? It made me upset. So that was that. I was looking at The Witcher. That's still like in the corner,
Yeah, you're still
looking at me a little bit. But obviously, Shadow of the Tree has to be played and finished at
Shadow
some
of
point.
the Tree like has to be played.
It does. These are the facts.
Is that what you were saying? Is that what you mean with like, the one that you might finish, or is it something else?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Because what other game would I
I thought I
play?
was about to get jumped
It'd
into
be
a
like-
secret game there.
We're going back to Final Fantasy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's this time.
Fucking fine.
Nah.
Hurry up with that shit, bro. Like,
Nah,
come on.
bro. I think we're waiting till the compilation's complete again. I think.
the second compilation.
Yeah.
The fucking compilation of Final Fantasy VII
It
Remake.
could happen.
I've been thinking about playing Cyberpunk a wee bit.
Cyberpunk. I also was looking at that, but I was like, you need to buy the whole game again.
I know. I'm
Which
trying
is
to
annoying.
like, what can I play that I've already got so I don't need to spend more money?
Exactly. I
I-
could knock out some of the like download ones maybe.
Yeah, I suppose
Like,
that's something handy.
Try to Yomi, something like that. Like eye me up like a wee 10 hour maybe.
I got that
Probably
Tunic
not
on,
even
the,
that.
on PlayStation Plus. You see Tunic,
Tunic, yeah.
which is like a funny one. What was my thoughts? So I've been playing Fallout 76 because the DLC,
Yes.
essentially the DLC's out for that.
Characters are in it,
It's quite good. I actually think it's quite decent.
bro.
I played and finished Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep,
Finally.
which was that was monumental for me. I've been sort of waiting to do that, and I love Kingdom Hearts. It's like one of my favourite game series. But playing the remakes, I just get so hung up on it. And then it was on the PS3, so when I went to the PS4, and then I was like, there was no point in me buying it on the PS4. I still got it on the PS3.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've finally done that. And as I said, with that is like essentially my PS3's
Done.
like his watch has ended.
Yep.
Like I pulled the plug.
It's time to move on.
Like I'll keep it in case I need it, but I don't need it. Right now. There's no other
Yeah.
games left to play on it that I'm like, oh, you should really finish that.
Mm.
Unless I want to be pedantic, and I mean, okay, technically I have like Lego Harry Potter years 5 to 7,
Oh, bro.
and I need to maybe try and see if I can fix the bug because I have this bug that prevented me from getting the platinum on Lego Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
But yeah, no, the Fallout. I think about Cyberpunk. I'm actually thinking once I'm done Fallout.
Uh-huh.
So I've got 2 things on the go. I've started the Lego Movie 2, the video game, because I was
Right.
like, I'm going to pick up something quick and easy.
It's not quick and easy.
No,
It's not quick.
It's not quick or it's not easy.
Oh man,
Because-
it's rock hard.
Well, like this game's like not like other Lego games. It's not got levels. It's got big world spaces,
Yeah.
and you navigate through like an open world and do quests. And then do you know what it turned around and did, Graham?
Mm.
There's building in this game. There's
Building.
just base and city building.
Oh man.
You just get like lampposts and you get like
SimCity.
bushes and you get houses and you just build like an entire civilization.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
this will ruin the tour.
This will ruin the third one.
Like, you literally go to the second world and like, man, this is a big blank space. Cause see, like, you just keep coming back here and just putting things down here. I'm like, I will be here
Forever.
forever.
Yes. I will not
Like,
stop
I will not leave.
until every inch of this city is perfect.
I will pave every fucking surface. I will put down every fire hydrant and post box and fucking barn
Yes.
imaginable. Why would you do such a thing
Bro,
to me?
Lego games hate you.
Why would you do this to me? So when I'm done that next year, I'm probably going to play Horizon.
Yep.
I really want to start Horizon, and I'm getting the Paper Mario remake for my birthday.
Yes.
Nintendo really fucking are my friends now, obviously. You know, that fucking direct was like, yep, Metroid Prime 4 is real.
Yeah.
We're making a new Mario and Luigi game. Like,
These games are coming out.
maybe I'll play Marvel
They're
vs.
saying
Capcom.
maybe.
Probably not,
the
because
compilation.
that'll pull my fucking sphincter out. But, like,
Perhaps.
those games are just for people who are better at games than I am.
But they're definitely better at fighting games than us.
It's true.
The
not hard to beat, to be
specific genre of, like, focus.
I'd say I'm good at Smash Bros, but I guarantee anybody who plays Smash Bros could beat me at it.
Damn, bro. I've never been good at Smash Bros. In my life.
Bro,
I've never even tried. Really.
it's true. I did curb stomp you like every time.
Facts.
But that's because I took it too seriously as well. I'm like, no, I'm in max, bro. I
I
know how to
must
play
kill
this
him.
game. I know the logic. I know the lore. Astrobot's coming back. I was going to joke, like, I just don't remember if PlayStation said anything. But Astrobot's coming back, which is great. I love Astrobot. But yeah, no, PlayStation, poor showing as always. Xbox decided to release games. That was the big news.
Well, I think, they've been building up. So it's time to shoot the load a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we'll build up more, I guess. I don't know. There'll probably be a cycle
Well, they're also doing
somewhat
things
after that.
for me. They were like, we're going to do a new Doom game, and I'm like, oh, and they're like, and we're going to release it in the PS5, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
bro. There you go, bro.
like, really?
See, you thought they would kill you, and they haven't yet.
My faith is constantly shaking,
Always, especially in Bethesda-owned
But I'm
properties.
now convinced that like surreal, and they are just going to like fucking like drop the basket and like
Maybe.
fucking just put like Halo and Gears of War on the PS5.
It could happen still.
I think it could. Although, I mean, the fact that they announced a new Gears of War for Xbox is like, okay, maybe that's like a sign. Maybe that's like a...
Well, that's a
That's
a stalwart.
Works. Like,
nah.
maybe we'll get a trailer a couple of months from now and like, by the way, to announce this has actually got a PS5 port as well as the Legacy Collection.
I think it would be funny if they were like, you know what, we're just putting Forza on PlayStation, because then Gran Turismo would cease to exist. Because Forza's the best racing game.
True. It's true, actually. That is true. Like, I don't know why Xbox just haven't just done that.
Or is
it would either that or would
know.
encourage Gran Turismo to just be better.
They could maybe just try and get better, I don't know. Like
Gran Turismo based on a true story about the fucking fall of the house in Turismo. Do you know what I mean?
That'd
like,
be funny. I'd play that game, man. I'd play the shit out of that game.
Fuck, man. That's so funny to fucking think of it as well.
That's hilarious. Imagine that.
You could just kill Gran Turismo if they wanted. Like,
they could. That's mad. I don't. Like, PlayStation will always get franchises like that. Like, imagine if like this game released on Xbox, it would just like it would change the whole landscape of the gaming world. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's crazy.
Fucking imagine if you played Last of Us on an Xbox.
I just don't think.
Well, it's not going to change the landscape. It's been too long now.
They just don't
like,
have a studio like that. Like PlayStation have a thing they do.
Yeah.
Over the shoulder third person action game, right? They do this thing very well.
Yeah.
And like 3 or 4 of their studios are actually really good at it. But Xbox have like nobody can do that. Like Hellblade can't do that. The second one's is shit apparently.
Is that?
Aye, it's like 4 hours long or something.
I never heard anything about the
It's
second
like
one. I completely forgot that game was out.
It's no very good apparently. Fuck. So the one studio they kind of hid, Ninja Theory's like, it's no worked, is it? Is it Ninja Theory?
I think it's Ninja Theory.
Aye, so that's no worked, and like no one else can really do it. Gears Studio like do Gears.
Yeah.
They don't do anything else. So like they've got nobody to do that. But PlayStation have like cornered the market on like over the shoulder. We're gonna do a story. It's gonna have some combat. It's gonna have some gameplay. You might not like all the gameplay, but it's gonna be good and you're gonna love it. And that's just what happens. It's gonna be an 8. It's not gonna be less than that.
Like 7.58.
Aye. And if you don't like Last of Us, or you don't like God of War, Norse, oh it's gods. Look over there. Oh, it's feudal Japan. It's basically the same gameplay. It's basically the same camera, but it's a whole different thing.
It's like Ubisoft, but better.
A little bit.
Although to me, the problem with Ubisoft is it's literally the same games. Like Far Cry is Assassin's Creed, is like The Division.
Aye, and there's levels of it. Like Ghost of Tsushima isn't exactly God of War, and God of War isn't exactly Ghost of Tsushima. No. There's some variants. Like
Uncharted isn't Last of Us, but
aye.
I mean they're the same company, obviously. But you can obviously see the bleed over, but you can also see the distinctions.
The imprint, yeah.
It's
sort of like, oh man, you could tell that's a Scorsese film.
Yes,
it's like that sort of imprint, and I can't believe I've just compared Martin Scorsese. Neil Druckmann must be coming in his pants right now.
Fucking bro,
that comparison.
Fuck that guy.
He lives for that comparison.
Compare it to fucking if there's any Martin Scorsese, it's Ghost of Tsushima.
Facts. Facts, man.
Why would you say that name?
Why
did you say that name?
We are so fucking. This is cinema.
Oh, what a picture!
What a picture.
Me playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
That is what a picture.
Which is true, because that was a peak.
There you go.
Sony make really great games. They just don't
Still
do it enough.
That's
they just keep, and they probably could do it more. I know it's like if it takes them this long to make a really good game,
aye,
fair enough. But then I'm like, no, you probably could be doing them faster and more evenly.
Maybe, We need to streamline it.
It's one of those ones where you have to
Still a young medium.
We also know they're going to come back. Like Sony do like a week show in this Game Awards season or whatever, this Summer Games Fest season, they do a poor showing. I'm like, I bet you in like fucking August they're going to come out with a stream and announce like Ghost of Tsushima 2 and it'll be like the best game ever made.
Like that is just what they do. They seem to play at their own pace, and they can do it because they're leading this generation, certainly.
I think they're leading them in raw strength, although I'm starting to really give Nintendo a bit of like, okay.
Well, that's different because Nintendo have done their own thing regardless of if they're winning the race or not.
Nintendo, Sony and Xbox are still competing at the end of the day to a degree, I feel.
I would
Nintendo
say so.
really are just fuck it, we're just going to do our own thing. And the thing is, Nintendo's a lot more varied. Sony will pace it out and will occasionally come out with a game and it will be like one of the best games of that period. And we'll probably just like dunk Xbox into a fucking bin, essentially. Meanwhile, Nintendo have released 5 games in that period. 2 of them were dog shit.
Yeah.
But one of them was also like the best version of that franchise they've ever made. So like,
and Nintendo have diversified their studios more as well now.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Which
Nintendo
is good.
Are definitely the company of diversity.
Yeah.
Like, Sony makes a bunch of really similar games really, really well, whereas Nintendo makes some of the most fucking diverse games you've ever seen, and some of them will be dog shit.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know what I love more. That's why I'm saying I think I have to give Nintendo a bit more.
You want the variety more.
They should be Nintendo should be allowed to make dog shit games. Because they're also then coming out with like fucking Mario Bros. Wonder, which was like insanely good.
Yeah.
And like, you know, some of their games are great, some of the games. Pokemon, I beg Pokemon to fucking get better. I'd fucking cry and I'd pray, please make those games better. But like, let's see what Metroid Prime 4 is like. That's the return to an old style of game. It's been in development hell longer than fucking Blade and Captain America 4 combined. But like,
probably has,
maybe that's a good thing. They restarted the whole procedure. Maybe it's like
that's because they had to, I guess,
Maybe that was
good.
Don't know if you can do that with Captain America 4, but like, maybe that's what it's needed.
Maybe, yeah. Just cut it off, life support.
Let's just pull the plug and let's just start again. But I love them both. I love them both more than Xbox, but I don't want to speak like a complete bias because obviously I'm not an Xbox guy. But it's undeniable that Xbox is in a really odd position. They are. They had a really strong sending because they announced things.
And that's all gamers want.
Yeah, we just want games to come out and them to be good or interesting.
Not like just for them to exist and I can play it when I never want to play it.
And I think we're starting to at least reach some level of sort of like smoothing out where like even the studio things, like, okay, they've had we've talked about this before. I think we're starting to get to the point where Xbox have had them long enough that I can understand that these are not things they bought to get away from Sony. These things that are starting to come out are Xbox. They were produced with Xbox as in charge.
They want like this studio to do this. And it's taken them 8 years because they bought it 8 years ago. And that's when they could implement
even the Indiana Jones thing,
action.
That was announced for PS5 but then taken back. But I'm pretty sure, was it not still announced under Xbox? They just took back the exclusive. I'm pretty sure Xbox owned Bethesda when they announced the Indiana Jones. I think that was one of the first streams. Even watching Indiana Jones, I'm like, that's probably could have played in the PlayStation, but I can perceive it as an Xbox game. And then again, more of the things they were announcing was like, this is like Xbox actually starting to do things now. Whether they're good or bad remains to be seen. But it's like, okay, now I'm not sitting there like, well, this could have been on PlayStation. And the Doom being on PlayStation is a beautiful promise to me. I'm greatly appreciative of that. Like, they can still just come out with games on the PlayStation. Like that, I won't feel hostile now because they know their market. I've already told you my biggest fear was like, we've just bought Bethesda so that PlayStation just doesn't get games anymore. And I'm sure I'll still hit that wall.
There'll be some games that'll happen with.
Exactly. Like fucking Outer Worlds 2. I mean, I was shit, but I maybe would have liked to have tried Redfall, but it was shit. Stuff like that. But you know, if it's like a healthy balance where they're like, Doom's fucking Doom. We're not going to make that exclusive because it's seminal. Like, we're saying we're for the players, and that means like people who know what Doom is
played games, bro.
Play Doom, regardless of where they are. But then, like, I don't know. Fallout 5, I would expect to be on a PlayStation, but if they did like a new Fallout spin-off and you told me it was only on fucking Xbox, I'd fucking grit my teeth and I'd be pissed about it, and I'd go, I get that. As opposed to like, it doesn't feel like you grabbed that. That was a thing that you stole to keep it away from me. It's now like no, we own it and we're going to start making stuff only for us, but it's made by us. It's not stolen from someone else. Which maybe sounds a bit more hostile than it actually is, but that's where my brain was at. That's what I was thinking of essentially. So, right, we're going to bring it back to something. So, actually, I just thought, you mentioned about how Sony games are kind of like...
Well, they've got a thing.
They've got a thing and they do a lot of things similar and a lot of things like well, but... So the other day you were talking to me quite strongly about so there was like a Twitter meme essentially.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I don't know who originally posted it. It might have been Sony, but I saw the Blasphemous developers post it, and it's basically it's like a block of 4, there's 4 screenshots of 4 characters' eyes. The blasphemous one's just blasphemous, but
yeah, that's the meme.
So
It's
the
actually
other
replaced one of
3
them with your one.
was Last of Us,
Last of Us,
Horizon. I think it was Hellblade, so it might not have been Sony, but it was those 3, like, just a shot of an eye.
Yeah, so a hyper realistic detailed
Yeah,
eyeball.
and it was like, oh, look at graphics, and I was like, those look like the same thing. So I was a bit miffed at like where has the artistry kind of gone? Like the Last of Us just looks like Horizon, and I can't tell them apart.
Just looks like Hellblade. Just looks
Yeah,
like Uncharted.
yeah, and I understand like realism's like a goal to strive for, and it is artistry in its own way a little bit, but like Nintendo don't do that. They just focus on like.
Well, I don't believe Nintendo has the ability to do that. I'm afraid.
Perhaps
if
not.
you tried to get Horizon to run on a Nintendo Switch that wasn't a Lego version,
Yeah,
like,
it would implode. But like, the point is that they're definitely going for a specific art look.
Yeah.
Whereas like Sony, they seem to be pigeonholed. Like every game has to be realistic to a point.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm like, man, could you maybe do something a bit braver, a bit bolder, maybe something different?
Yeah, that's the thing that is really worth addressing. Art style is like a thing at the moment, and I mean it's obviously not like an issue in everything. Sony, I think, and Microsoft, because they're pure. Like Nintendo are still in my eyes like the silly company. They're the family-friendly, colourful, fun company.
Yeah.
So you
and
don't
that's
really.
The image they want to produce.
It's true, and you don't ever expect them to do otherwise. Like I'm not waiting for them to do a hyper-realistic Mario.
Exactly.
I don't expect that.
Yeah.
Whereas Sony and Microsoft feel that they're trying to be so far on the curve, on the edge.
Yeah.
I mean, they will make Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart or like. I'm trying to think of a game Microsoft's made recently. But you know, there is games. Microsoft do make games, and they're not always super realistic. But I think there's this conception that like the best stuff, the most prestigious stuff, is hyper realistic.
Yeah.
And
well, in that way, like yes, but maybe not for the reasons you think so. Like the reason The Last of Us is so well received isn't because it's graphically like real. It's because it's most like a movie.
Yeah.
And we could judge it that way.
Well, do you think the issue here is that so like to quickly blanket, like as we said, like these are still good games. Horizon is a good game.
Yeah.
Last of Us is a game that came out.
Well, I bounced off Horizon, so I mean it might be a good game, but I couldn't. I couldn't say that.
I mean, all the like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kratos' eye doesn't look like Aloy's eye, but if I took like Freya's eye and put it next to like Aloy's eye,
yeah.
Like I'm not saying
all women could be the same game.
Games look similar. I just mean more like the style is so hyper realistic more than that.
Because real people look like real people.
Well, yeah,
and they can
even
exist
though they're
together.
stylized and they're fighting things, like the people, if they depict a human, they all still depict really hyper detailed, realistic humans.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think? Because I think of that in terms of like whether this is valued as like the best or not is like naturally. Some people find that the way to push this technology into how close just can we make it to real, immersion wise, like if you're playing a game that like looks and feels real, that like might increase your immersion in it.
Right.
And I'm not saying it does. I just like, you know, Last of Us, but then, okay, I need to compose myself here because there's so many layers to this in my head.
Right.
Like, first off, as you say, Last of Us is thought of really well because it's such a realistic, rich, layered story, closest to a movie. Now, whether it's good or bad, do you think then this general push is because, the closer we can become to actually real is a signifier of our quality, which, don't get me wrong, it does require the work. Like, some of these things are like amazing strides in graphics, but they're dominating it because it just is like a market. It's like, I make mine look super real, and mine looks even realer than super real, and it's just constantly battling that because we're seeing that as like, well, the closer it gets to real, the more it can simulate the reality of it. That's what we are holding as a marker for good.
Yes, I think the technology presses that because there's always like, we need to develop it further and we need to make it better iteratively. Like every year we need to have more rays to trace. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
More gods to raise.
Yes, we need to have more gods to raise. Like we need all of that, and that has a value, especially in pushing forward the power of the machines that play the games, meaning that the games can then be like, they can display better no matter what the art style is.
Yep.
But it obviously is sort of focused on the realistic kind of breaking the crossing the uncanny valley, trying to make it as realistic as humanly possible. And I think they're pigeonholed by it. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's like super negative right now because other games are being made.
Yeah.
On the like immersion point, I don't necessarily think it heightens it or lessens it. It might for like certain games or certain people playing those games. Like, I don't know, when you're playing a game, what is it that immerses you? What is it that like you're just in now and you can forget everything around you?
Well, that's a really fucking good question. I think, I mean, I don't know how personal this is. For me, it isn't so much graphics and details.
Because I've never been fussed with graphics personally.
I'm a story guy. I'm a detail guy.
Mm.
I'm looking for rich worlds. I'm looking for things to see. Doesn't matter what the shape of those things are, as long as it's like there's always things for me to stick my nose in, to explore, to find. You know, Fallout's a great example of that. I always love Fallout because I just love being able to just go to a place and just dick around and do things in that place.
Aye.
There's always a story to tell. I'm always finding like notes, talking to people. Like there's fleshed out environments.
Aye.
You know, like it's not realistic if I see a cityscape and I can't go in any of the buildings because we can't load it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I've never the quality of a story will always immerse you. I think primarily what you're being told.
Aye.
I think is always more important than how you're being told it, and a degree of said things. Obviously, I say maybe that's too broad a term. More like what you're being told doesn't matters more than the shape of what it's telling you in. Because like Mario and Luigi doing cartoon stunts versus like Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, like if I'm just enjoying the story and the dialogue and the world that's being created,
I could enjoy Mario more.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's delivered that way.
Because I sometimes get hiccuped by like gameplay to degrees as well, because it depends on how seriously it takes itself. That's a really good point. Like you can get immersed in a game that doesn't care because it's so earnest to that belief, whereas Last of Us takes itself really seriously for a good end, but then see when something messes up with that. Yeah. So I've always said one of my biggest issues with Last of Us is some of the stealthy type stuff. Right. I have issues when I play Last of Us because it's a serious, like, grounded world, and then I'm playing like a stealth section and the enemies are spawning behind me, and then I shoot like a gun and I get heard across the other side of the stage. Yeah. He's just seen what I've just seen. David Fincher's English remake of Squid Game. Can we just stop remaking like other things? Yeah, please? Stop doing that. Stop remaking foreign language things and other things because it's just not going to be as good. Interesting. Even if it's fucking Fincher as well. Like, aye, cool. Aye. Like, yeah, so the gameplay as well, then ludonarrative dissonance. Yes, I was about to bring that up. Like, yeah, like the fact that it's one of the hardest things, especially if you're trying to tell like a story, like you're trying to do an Uncharted, you're trying to do a Last of Us. It's one of the hardest things to balance. But that's what I was going to say to you. So, what do you think the benefit of realism is? Because I don't think a lot of people I would say like, oh well, it all looks real, so I get involved. This might be like our MCU thing where we might not be there might be an entire group of people out there who are like, this looks so real. I'm so immersed. Well, they play like that as well. I feel like I get that in trailers all the time. Where it's like, oh, look how real this is. Such an immersive environment because it just looks real. I don't know. Like, realism has a benefit in that, like, I think you could more immediately like empathise with something that you see more realistic. Like, you can immediately kind of be like, oh, I know what that looks like, feels like, touches like, whatever it is. You can kind of get into that easier. I think part of the difficulty in discussing games and like critiquing games is that we don't have like a corpus, if that's the word, like a dictionary of words, or like a seminal text that we can be like, right, like ludonarrative dissonance is like one we've latched onto. Yeah, that's like a game term. Because we've got it. Yeah. We've got game terms like RPG, JRPG, proc. Like, we're procking this effect. No, like, stuff like that. Like, a lot of times we used to describe games are almost in the vein of movies. Yes, we talk that's about, what I mean. Like, framing, narrative. Like, yes. And yes, that does work in certain ways because you're still telling a story and certain terms work. But, like, it's all, we understand it through other mediums. So this is where, like, I think it falls apart. Is like, I think in the next 20 years, that will exist and we'll have, like, a way to discuss games and we'll all know what it is that we mean when we say it. Yeah. Because... well, movies, it's like movies right now. It's movie-esque, movie-mania, right, whatever it is, right? No, you're not because wrong. It's the closest thing to it, because it's moving story. It's not like a book. Yeah. Because that would just be like a script reading it. It's moving. It's like ethereal. It's flowing like a movie does or like a TV show does. So that's how we'd just like analyse it. And I think that takes away from the major part of it, which is the gameplay part, which is how the player choices, how you interact with that. Exactly. So I don't know. Like, I think realism, like games like Until Dawn or Heavy Rain or like that Erica game, which is like live action. It's just the actors acting. It's not even game simulated. It's them and you're making the move, like Bandersnatch. It's a game, but it's sort of skirting a line. Yeah. I don't really know. Like, Until Dawn and that benefit from it being realistic because it's like it's going for that kind of it's like a horror game, so it's trying to get you unsettled a little bit, so it wants it to look real,
so that you see people hurt and you're like, oh man, that's like me, kind of thing, I guess. But apart from that, I don't really know where you'd benefit from it being realistic looking. Like, realistic feeling's a different thing. Like, if you're playing Forza, you want it to feel real. You want, like, you probably want rumble on your controller.
Yeah.
Because you want to feel the tarmac, like, shaking. You want to feel the engine revving. Stuff like that. That's good.
That's like a tensile experience. Where driving a car's like a, it's like a
like a physical experience.
So the closer you can make that real,
like
more immersed.
When you play a shooter and the gun's weightless, it feels bad. It feels off.
Not wrong,
Like, it needs heft, needs something, needs balance.
Yeah.
So there's like realism in that way is good. I don't know if it's like beneficial. Like, that's a net positive, whereas realism looking isn't to me a net positive. It's got positives, but it's not net, I'd say.
So that's what were you saying about that and Until Dawn there?
Yeah.
That's, I think, where it's all sort of galvanising.
Oh my.
Basically, here's, in the gun thing as well, realism, I think, is really good when it's sort of something that you are directly interacting with, if you think about it.
This is the benefit of games.
Well, yeah, well, like, it doesn't matter if I'm a big, giant, chunky Gears of War man, or I'm like a human being. As you say, if the gun doesn't feel realistic, if you relate that, because you're physically using that, so it's what you as a player character are actually interacting with. I think as well, it's aesthetic.
Right.
As the Until Dawn, there's a horror game. The more realistic you can make it, the more like it will be a bit intense, and a bit more like
the more unsettled you might be.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to say, Last of Us and Horizon, the two we can remember, are both post-apocalyptic games. So like, do you think maybe I'm not saying you can't do like weird fake post-apocalyptic games, but do you think they're like, well, okay, well, we are depicting like our real world just like after a great thing, so by appearing as realistic, that, do you not think that would heighten? Like, Last of Us is that like it's fucked up because it just looks like our world, but things get fucked. So
I think it probably does heighten it, and it's maybe why it's a good example of it kind of intertwining with the gameplay, because the gameplay's a struggle like the characters are experiencing. Right.
Yes. Okay. I think that's a good way of putting it.
And that's a good way that they kind of dovetail together.
So that's where it's like they do work well. I think if the realism, I guess, is actually doing something.
Aye.
This is going to be controversial-ish, because I actually really like this game, but I don't understand really why God of War needs to be hyper-realistic, other than it's just trying to look a bit like a movie.
That's like to my point. Is like it could look more like the PS2 games or PS3 game.
I think you could push back to those, get a bit chunkier, like weirdly proportioned people in that.
Oh, I guess, but I don't know.
But like the new God of Wars compared to the ones are just like much more like normal.
It's almost like it being more real as a consequence of us. Oh, we're going to try to tell a really like mature story here, but I don't know why you couldn't do that and it still be like play like a game.
Do you know what? That's a really good point.
Do you know what I mean?
You know, a lot of these super hyper realistic games are not like easygoing or childish or like just like they are like mature, like high end serious topics. So do you think people kind of have the conception that it needs like it's realistic?
I think
so. Maturity and realism go hand in hand. Like if you're going to tell something serious and relatable,
which isn't the case.
No, it's not. Of course, it's a bad conception if that is the conception.
Like I don't have one off the top of my dome, but like Mother's a Shout.
Oh yeah,
like
Mother's a perfect
like
shout. Yeah,
like any Final Fantasy game for the PS1 era.
Yeah,
is like looks like a cube.
Fucking Kingdom Hearts is like my favourite game series of all time. And I'm fucking
exactly.
sobbing.
Exactly.
Although Mother's actually a better example than Kingdom Hearts, because Kingdom Hearts, like again, it's in the maturity of the storytelling. Mother 3 specifically, that is a fucking gripping, emotional sort of experience. It's about childhood, it's about trauma, it's about like response to change. Like those are like you could put that shit in a fucking. You could make that realistic. You know what I mean?
And someone probably will make that game.
You know, I don't know. Have you played Two Brothers?
No.
See, I wonder what those games are like. And I'm not saying they're super realistic. They are not quite as bad as say Horizon.
No, they're more stylized. They're more kind of. They're kind of almost clay looking.
What am I thinking of? Oh no, I'm thinking of Plague Tale. I'm thinking of
Plague
Tale.
Tale. Yeah. That's more like along the lines Last of Us kind of thing.
That's a bit like a wee. Like a brother and sister, is it no? Like a
like France during the plague.
Oh man,
with the rats.
The plague.
I think there's like some mystical stuff happening in it, but that's along those lines, like Last of Us.
Because what I was getting at with that one was like, nowadays people can like that type of level of storytelling that like say Mother 3 presented. People probably could tell a story like that, about kids dealing with shit and put it in a.
But it wouldn't look like that.
Yeah, a hyper realistic sense.
And it's that the immediate thought wouldn't be to make it look like Mother 3 or make Mother 3 look like Mother 3 but better,
Yes.
it would be to make it look like Last of Us
Yes.
instead
Because
of
that's realistic and
Aye.
that is mature and that's how that works now.
yeah.
But here's another fun thought. Do you think that now we're maybe at a point where the technologies came to such a degree that we can make just quite good convincing realism? Even like we're talking Last of Us
so.
1 era.
Yeah, like,
So you're about
I'm
2013.
fairly confident we could, like, you could fool a person in the street maybe for like a second.
Yeah, or at least that like you can more easily make a game that looks that good.
Yeah.
Back then. So do you think
Definitely.
now people like will default to that rather than like say back in the day, like storytelling's always been like you can do high level or low level storytelling to mature that, but back then we didn't really have the technology to make it real.
Yeah.
Back then, old video games were like fucking GoldenEye.
Aye.
Like, look how GoldenEye looks, and it's polygonal like fucking face mating.
Mm.
Like so now that the technology is there and it's easier to do that, do you think people will kind of like default to that anyway? It's like, okay, well, I want to make a serious game. Well, I'll make it realistic because I can. It's easier for me to make a realistic game than to push myself to make a dramatically different art style. Since the norm is now kind of same, like mostly realistic.
Probably, like, it also helps that like that's just how we like perceive things. So like, if I was to say to you, just describe a random game that I just made up on the spot, you'd probably perceive it in a realistic way. You'd probably think of it as like us acting out the actions. You wouldn't be like, oh, it's going to look like Mario.
Mm-hmm.
You would create it and you're in that way. So you need like, I don't know, like some crazy visionary artist to be like, oh, I'm going to make it look this way.
Well, that's kind of what I was
It's not
getting at.
my
Yeah,
own
you've
thing.
got it. It's like I'm not saying they're taking a load off, or it is inherently easy, but if you're going to make a
it's
game...
difficult.
Well, yeah, it's like if you're going to make a game, as you say, maybe realism has an element of easiness to it now because the technology is there to have a good baseline.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I can conceive of this realistically, so it's easier for me to translate it to just a thing that looks real than to do something wildly different and stylized.
Yeah.
And really, at that point, the thing that you need to work with is more just the technology. You don't need to go out your way to completely do a dramatic art style shift. You just need to compete with like, okay, can the technology can do this at a base level? So how do we push it? And then we can turn that around into like a marketing thing. Like, look, oh, we were going to do realism anyway, but let's just look how realistic we've got it.
Aye.
So it's like at that point, you just need the technology needs to work with. You don't need to also struggle with a bizarre art style choice, even though like that's cool and art is cool and shapes and colours are cool.
Do you know what I think is like slightly weird? Is that like it mirrors movies in a way that like most movies aren't animated, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have like a striking visual style.
Yeah.
Apart from like maybe they're doing like weird colour theory or like it's shot and the lighting's weird, something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather play a game that isn't realistic. Like I'd rather play a stylized game.
Well, that's the thing. Do you know what's wild? I can sit in here and tell you how much I enjoyed playing. And I mean, this isn't going to change ever. Ghost of Tsushima is probably one of my top 3, top 5 games of all time.
Aye.
Although, to be fair, even then, that has elements. I mean, yeah, the people look real, but, you know, also, what is realism? Like, Ghost of Tsushima's got, like, mystical spirit guides and fucking, like, fox.
Aye, like...
But let's look how realistic the fox looks.
Uh-huh.
But while I admit that game's amazing, I love it, it reminded me when I picked up Mario RPG Remake, and there's more levels to that because that's also a style of game that's different.
Aye.
But I remember the raw, like, oh my god, look at the colours, the audio, like, this just is fundamentally different to anything I've experienced for a while.
Aye.
Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, I mean, those games are also play a bit similar, but they also just look and feel a bit similar.
Yeah.
And while I enjoy them individually, when you get that thing that has such a, that's how it stands out. That's what we're getting at here. And it's not exactly a secret. Everyone knows this, but like, you know, the problem with realism becoming more normal is that it's
that they all look the same.
Yeah, they look the same. They would kind of, even if it's like, well, I'm doing realism post-apocalypse, I'm doing realism robot dinosaur post-apocalypse.
Yes.
I'm like, but you still I can put Aloy and Ellie's faces together, and it's just the same eyeball essentially. It's the same like visual concept. And then if I stick that next, again, if we do the 4 paneling and I stick Blasphemous next to it, or I stick fucking Kena Bridge of Souls, fucking Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, like you know, all these things.
Like you'd be able to point what's the odd one out.
And then your head also goes like, because it's the odd one out. I mean, this is like, we're talking like very basic normal human experience theory. But it's almost as if people don't see that anymore. It's like as we said, it's not that bad. We're not at that stage yet, but just God, I hope they keep making games that look fun and are good. And I will say, watching these Summer Games Fest things, a lot of games do just kind of look the same now.
Yeah,
they only really get marked on a just what are they? Like, this is a Japan inspired Dark Souls, like Soulsborne-esque game, which we already have a lot of. We're starting to get a lot of them. Every company's like, I'm going to make a Soulsborne. it's going to be Japan inspired.
Obviously.
A lot and like explorer games or like RPG games, they have to differentiate themselves based on like kind of just the quality of the gameplay and like what they're actually doing, because I just feel like too many games look the same. Although we've brought this up previously in respect to anime, and
Right.
like every anime game looks the same.
Yes.
Like Tales of Vesperia looks like Grand Blue Fantasy, looks like fucking Harvest Moon to me.
Right.
Looks like Genshin Impact.
Fair.
Every game is Genshin Impact now.
Right, that's true.
So that's maybe we have to point out that there's also a stylistic problem on the complete opposite side.
Yeah, there's somewhere in the middle here where the Goldilocks zone is.
Although to be fair, those ones like they are just all anime inspired, and the problem is anime does have a loose locked in art style.
It's kind of, yeah, and the only difference is how it's animated is what makes it look different.
Although no, but it's always realism, so that's unfair to me to say, because like that's another thing. Realism is always going to kind of look the same because you're going for one solid thing. Realism's goal is to look real, and we as human beings do not exist in different art styles. We all just look the same. We just dress ourselves different and do different things. That's essentially what these games are.
In a way, yeah.
So
like
as long
there's
as
levels to the realism.
Yeah.
There's like what's like the realist game. I don't know what it would be, but like Hitman's not the realist looking game, but it's still realistic.
No.
Alan Wake's not the realist looking game, but it's still realistic.
Alan Wake's a really good shout. What do you think the live action does for Alan Wake?
I think it's
Especially
Alan
in context of that game itself, because I know that's more of actually the game, the story that's been told.
Aye, it's I don't really know how to tackle it. It's sort of like, because it's not trying to be like a movie in the same way that like Neil Druckmann's Last of Us is trying to be a movie.
No, exactly.
It's its own thing because it's mixing the media. I don't really know. I think it's trying to be like, it's trying to just like break a wall somewhere. I don't know where the wall exists.
Well, Alan Wake as a story, is that not the whole thing about that? Is like the lines, because
because
you've
he's
got like
writing
he can write the stuff that becomes real. So
and
it's
in
like
2 he's writing the story as you play it, and you can change the story within the game. Your actions can change it at the moment.
So it's almost shatters the walls between reality and unreality and levels of that.
Yeah, and the only time it jumps to real is in Alan sections, and then at the end when Saga's in the overlap in the dark place.
Yeah.
So that's the only place. It's only happening when you're with Alan, who's the writer who can change reality. So maybe sort of like a comment on that.
I think that's breaking the wall, because you'd have to understand Alan's, even though he is shaping reality, ultimately when you're with the writer, that is shaping. He is the one shaping that, so he is like the outside. Think of people. I love to talk. I mean, I don't want to. We literally said we shouldn't be doing this, but to talk about films for a minute. Things that explore the verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude.
That's the sort of the reality, the ability of a product to create its own truth to a degree. That's maybe not the best.
To prove its own truth.
Well, more like if something like the verisimilitude of a product is like a product's not the nicest word for me. I mean, like a piece of media is like the boundaries of its sort of reality of believability. Like it's like a framing device. As hard as it's really hard to describe. I'm thinking of Wes Anderson. Remember it? Right. Fucking Life Aquatic, where they stopped the whole movie for him to do a weird like stage show presentation. Let me show you my boat.
Yeah.
Grand Budapest is 3 stories in one. The whole framing device is like a person telling a story about a person telling a story. Asteroid City is just an entire movie about how the thing's not real. Aye. So like that's Wes Anderson fucking loves just completely shattering the confines of the fourth wall in that instance,
right?
And just exploring, crossing the boundary of verisimilitude, and like how does that affect? Like, what is that the point in that?
Right.
And it does make you feel certain levels of like interest. It creates a very fun aesthetic. It's like, I always love thinking about the example of not Grand Budapest and Life Aquatic, because it's still almost within the story of the movie. It's like it's what's happening, but it's just such a weird out of like context moment, especially by presentation. It's basically like a stage show. You start thinking about the fiction of the device itself, and that's the thing. Alan Wake, by presenting like, okay, Alan is the writer, he is the one creating reality, and he is the real world. We are the real world.
Aye.
So when you are playing something and you're not as Alan, and it's the rendered stuff, that is the fake world. But obviously they are. I mean, I've not played enough of the game to say what they're saying, but they're obviously trying to say something
with it. I don't know what it is, and there's like levels to it. Like there's obviously the wee interstitial with the talk show.
Yep.
But then there's a full section of the game where it just plays the movie from the character in the game. That like the character in the game made a movie. It just plays that movie live action, and it just echoes what Alan's going to go through. It's his whole
Right.
story. It's like 40 minutes. It's just you just
She's watching a movie for fucking 40
you
minutes and
just
I'm like,
stand. The camera's the same. You're just over the shoulder. You're seeing Alan, and it's just on the screen, and you can just watch it. And it's just Sam Lake acting with a bunch of like Norwegian actors or Icelandic actors, wherever they're from, and it's just there. They just play it. You can miss it. You can walk away, but it's just there for you to watch.
I fucking love that.
It's diegetic, so it's the character in the game's movie that he's made in the game, but it's live action, not animated like the game is when you're playing it. I don't know.
But see,
It's mad.
that's fucking amazing because you got, why did they do that?
Why did they do that?
And you're saying it reflects
I don't know.
like Alan's journey, so is it because it's referring to Alan? Amazing.
Well, yeah. Well, but then it's like, well, did Alan create Thomas Zane? Because how did Thomas Zane get the clicker to Alan if Alan never existed because they created Thomas Zane? Like, how does that all work?
What is the real reality, Graham?
Who knows?
So
I don't know.
to give that all a point as well at the end, like that's amazing because it's using realism and playing with it in a way that is like pertinent to what's being said.
Mm-hmm. But
I'm
that's
not
real
saying-
realism. Like, it's actually real.
Well, yeah,
Real.
well, like, but I mean, to
It's
be fair,
not like realism like it looks real.
but I mean, Alan Wake. I'm pretty sure that how stylized is Alan Wake when it's not actual real life.
I mean, it still looks realistic.
I'm not saying it's like Horizon Zero Dawn, like you can see the pores, but they've obviously strived to
I
make it
don't know if
look like.
it's pretty close to it.
Yeah, you obviously it strived to make it look like the animation, the quality of the actual animated
Yeah.
gameplay is like
Mhm.
to look as close to realistic as they can
Yeah.
manage, and also work within the
And the
convention
actors
story.
look like the actors.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, that they didn't just do that because that's just how games should look.
No.
They've clearly, you know, they're clearly doing it for a purpose. They're using the levels of it in the story, and
Mm.
you know, I mean, the whole point of it is like reality, and like it's a crafted reality, but it might be the real one. So it's like, you know, this one looks different from that one, but you know, maybe one's more real than the other.
Mm.
I
Maybe
think if
that's
you got
why.
around and told me that there was is there like a is it like a concrete yes, Alan Wake is actually real creating a world, or is there like an argument to be made that maybe Alan Wake's the fake reality, like the writer's the fake reality type of thing?
No.
Oh fuck! If there was, that'd be cool. Because
There
then
is
you'd
the
be like,
base reality where like Saga is the FBC, and then Alan was in that, fell into the dark place, and now is in the dark place reality.
is that the live action one?
That's the only time live action occurs is when you're in the dark place. That's the only time we see it.
But then, so that's what you're saying. That's not the game's reality. So the game is presenting a reality, and then Alan specifically fell into a different reality.
Mm.
But that is how we as human beings perceive the world.
Mm.
So that's like really fucking cool to use actual real life imagery
Mm.
as we would perceive it as a human playing the game to depict something that's thoroughly not real. Like you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I know this actually is the dark place. This is
Yeah.
the thing that the game is telling me is
Like
not real.
obviously it's real. Like the talk show looks like what a talk show would look like.
Yeah.
But it is like we know it's not.
Yeah, we know it's adjacent
Physically
from the
real.
reality of the game,
It
of the
might
story of
Look,
that
it might be
universe.
physically real because obviously Alan's writing what he knows and what he
Mhm.
can like remember. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
So he's created the talk show from like maybe talk shows he went on. Maybe it's not like one talk show he went on. It's a conglomeration of all the talk shows he's been on.
Yeah.
But it's something like that, and he's created it in the dark place.
I think that's fucking tight tits. I think that's fucking pog.
That's why Alan Wake's like.
I'm gonna play Alan Wake, bro. I gotta get
Pretty
involved
good,
with
man.
this.
I don't know. It's
I gotta
like,
learn the dance.
you got to learn the Herald of Darkness.
Literally, fucking great song as well.
Aye, Alan Wake's like a smartly written game. Like sometimes like something dramatic will happen, and the characters will not mention it or like discuss it or like deal with it in any way.
Yeah, sort of react immediately, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna move on to the next
Aye,
set.
and it's like you would never know that the character had like sorted that and dealt with it and squared that away in their mind.
Yeah.
Like Alan Wake, like in the first act, like Saga and Sam Lake's character, the guy Casey, they get sent to the place to find the dead body. To find the dead body, they go back to the police station, and then when they're about to do the examination, the police chief disappears out of thin air. The dead guy wakes up, and then after that, they're like, "What the fuck just happened?" And they like actually speak about it, and then like they kind of discuss it. So it's like it's trying to keep it as realistic as possible.
But that's
in
fair
that
enough,
way.
but it's not like a game. It's not like a things happen in the game, and like
Aye,
because sometimes in a game, unless it is a super character focused thing, the expectation of a reaction is on you.
aye.
The game will have a thing happen, and your character will go like, "Wow, that's wacky," but like the game's acknowledging that you're the one who's going to be like, "Well, what's going on there?" That. But
Aye.
this is like, no, these are fucking people in a lived experience who are having to fucking process crazy fucked up things that are
Because
happening to them.
you as a viewer might want to be like, might not have got it, and you might need a bit more discussion about it, and maybe see how these characters react to this, and that's maybe how you'd get more drawn in.
It also just it makes them feel like characters.
Aye, makes
Like-
them feel like real people. Because if you and me saw a guy disappear out of thin air, and then a dead guy rise, we'd be like, what the fuck happened there, bro?
I'm not going to throw shade on these games, especially because you love them. But Resident Evil,
Great games.
I feel like those games though are a bit like that though, where
Definitely.
it's like. I mean, Leon Kennedy's like fucking fighting like mad fucking townspeople with chainsaws.
Aye.
He's like, where's everybody going?
Like,
I'm not saying
Leon's...
the cracking
yeah.
jokes is a bad thing, just more like a...
Leon's not stopping to speak to Claire about, isn't it mad that like the dead have risen?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that crazy?
What do you think's going on about that? Like,
No, he's just walking into the next room and he's just going to shoot them, and that's what he's
and
going to do.
those games, I think, they're at least built like, they're like built around that. They have their own story being told and their characters going. So I'm not saying they're worse for it,
Aye.
but I mean like like that. I say that's just a style of game, and plus those games are like old. Do you know what I mean? The original Resident Evil are old, so it's maybe just a different time back then. You would tell stories differently. But what I'm trying
It
to say
can't all
is,
be Vagrant story or something.
well, yeah, exactly. I was going to say like just it is a bit like a to really immersion. You were saying like it pulls you in. You know, maybe this. I feel like this does happen more and more. I'm not saying old games have never done it, but you know, more and more games are like acknowledging the power of the story. I mean, this might be a push to be more movie-like, I guess, or just create a story that is around you. You're not just
Right.
as a player. You are reacting to things.
Aye. Well, this is what's good about like say God of War 2018 is that the story moves. You're like an agent in the story, but
Yeah.
the story is still happening around you.
Yes.
Like it's not like when you kill the son of Thor, whatever his name is,
Modi.
Modi.
I think it's Modi you
You
kill.
kill one of them first, right?
Aye.
And then Atreus like goes sick. Then you're rushing, but everything else is still happening. Like you hear the thunder, and
Yeah,
it's like
characters moving around
he's
you.
went and spoke to him. Now Thor's on the hunt for us. Like it's all still happening around you, and it makes the world feel more real. It makes you feel like
And plus, these things are still being like, you know, like Trace's entire fucking character becomes about that act, and it's like your ego.
yeah,
And like these are sort of realistic emotions, and this is coming back to the concept of the realism in character texture and people responding to things in interesting ways. Now that I think has levels.
right.
We keep saying mature storytelling, and I think like some of these highest end, super realistic like
Big buck games.
visual ones, the big buck games, they will tell stories like that. They'll have beautiful fleshed out worlds, events going on. Like Alan Wake 2, I mean, I know Alan Wake 2 maybe is not necessarily a big buck game.
But it's trying to be that. But it's definitely like
it's definitely not. It's that studio's
it's trying
Remedy.
to be that story. Yeah.
Yeah, Remedy's like obviously like fucking like we are gonna give it a fucking
Aye.
good go.
It's trying to be prestige. It's trying to be prestige best storytelling it can
And
be.
it's doing the things it needs to. It's just having a really tightly well written thing with real reactive characters in a world that actually has its own level of logic, but also at the same time like has unique things about it, etc. But like, you're not going to see that happen in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
That's going to do its own wee thing.
That might have its own level of fun. Like things will happen in the world, but that won't be like oh, this is a deeply immersive. Well, that'll be like funny little like, or well also. Do you know what's just came to me? Maybe it's more how you respond to something based on the content. You can be immersed in a Mario and Luigi game, and it's not the same way you're immersed in Last of Us.
Like, this is where gameplay plays more of the immersion part
Yeah,
for me.
definitely.
Like, I'm more immersed if I'm playing the game. Like, I've never been more immersed than in the final boss fight of Sekiro when I just became Neo and I saw the Matrix and I wasn't reacting. No, I was only reacting, but it was like split second. I just felt everything.
Yeah, you're feeling it there.
Like, I wasn't. There was nothing. That only me and the control in the game existed. I was just in it. But you could be like that with Mario.
yeah.
Like, I'm sure some of those Mario Maker levels, it's just pure instinct. Like, you're not seeing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just jumping.
But then that's also like Sekiro's about that.
Well, yeah, that's why it's like the ultimate immersion, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, it's more immersive than all the other Souls games in that way that it requires ultimate focus of you in terms of the gameplay.
Do you know what it is? There's immersion in terms of like you and like the driver's seat, and there's immersion in terms of you just being in the world.
Like in the passenger seat.
Like yeah, like that's your Sekiro's like I'm playing the game. I feel the tension. I need the dodge, the moves. I'm going off of experience. Whereas like in a Mario game, if you just present me like when I'm hitting Mario and Luigi, I'm hurt on these fucking games for some reason. But yeah, when I'm playing like fucking Partners in Time, and I'm doing the little mini game to hit the hammers. But I'm not actually doing that. I'm not like, well, look at me. I'm hitting the hammers to press the A at the right time. But the sheer quality of the aesthetic and the characters, that it just creates a sort of a narrative immersion.
Right.
So there's the first person immersion, and then there's the sort of just a general like I can enjoy this world. I can understand the boundaries of the world, even though I know it's not my own, but you've told me enough about it. You've shown me enough of it in such a great way that I like it that way. And I also think how much are you being asked to feel that? Like in Mario and Luigi, they're not asking you to become Mario and to feel Mario's emotions. They simply want to tell you a really great story in a world that surrounds you.
Aye.
Whereas Alan Wake, Last of Us, they actually want you to functionally be there and to actually have the thing happen to you. And how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
That's also because of the games that they are.
We want you to be. We want you to think you're Joel in this moment.
That's where the style maybe that is why they're using the style. They are trying to make you. Realism is one of the ways. I'm not saying it's not impossible for non-realistic games to put you in that way, but obviously it's a very guaranteed way to like if you can see things that work the way you understand them, like I look at that building, that looks like a building I'm seeing in real life. Like the more it can put you in an actual space where you can perceive that as something that you know, the easier it'll be to lay on these things to you. Here's people feeling real emotions. You feel emotions. You're like, God, I do feel emotions for real. Like I do live in buildings, and there are other people around me.
Bruh.
Which is that then leads me to one other funny thing. So you were talking about Sekiro. Like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Like Elden Ring.
Yeah.
They're funny because
how so? Well, I think they revolutionised gaming.
Well,
I think Dark Souls is the single most influential game of recent memory. Like before it was Ocarina of Time, and now it's Dark Souls.
I know.
And Dark Souls is itself influenced by Ocarina of Time.
They should never have released Dark Souls 1.
Why not? It's literally one of the best games ever.
Gaming landscape of Dark Souls 1 never came out, and it's like all the future buildings.
It's awful. It's awful without it, I'm telling you.
What came to my mind immediately is that, like, you are functionally just a person in that, and I know you can bastardize the fucking character creator and look like a fucking awful fucked up gleb man.
But that person could look real.
But like, functionally, your base level is just real. And the characters look realistic enough. Like fucking Sir Gideon Ofnir and Mikkel and that, they are
they look realer now than they did in Dark Souls 1.
I guess, yeah. But I'm just like, they kind of depict a world that is understandable from a certain perspective, but that are functionally so detached from our own.
Right.
And I don't even have a point here. I'm just like fascinated thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, I could be playing as just like a guy tarnished, and he's just like a human who looks like a human. But then I'm wearing the biggest, fattest, most fucked up armor, shooting fucking lasers at my hands, and I'm fighting like fucking Godric the Grafted, that's just not based in any sense of reality.
Yeah.
So like,
that's just the fantasy of it, though. I guess
that's cool, isn't it?
Well,
I don't have a point.
Like, it's realistic, but like that's the artistry. Like all the people they've came up with an art style.
That's realism, but like not realism. That's like I'm using like an aesthetic marker of realistic. I've made like these are just real human beings.
Aye.
But the art style is beyond that.
Aye.
Maybe at that point I'm using it as a vehicle to sort of express things in more aesthetically appealing ways. Like trees in Elden Ring look nice. Like they look like nice real trees, and you go, that's beautiful, that's lush.
Yeah.
And like, cool, look at this real tree, look at this fucked up weird Elden Ring flower that isn't real, but because it's by proxy of this immersive, highly fidelity
it fits
world.
in this area.
Yeah,
it looks like it would be real here.
That's like a really good. Maybe that's a more modern example of what I'm talking about with Mario.
Right.
Where like it's created a cohesive, immersive world full of detail and that. It's just that one's using like high fidelity, hyper detailed, pseudo realistic graphics.
Like the mushroom from Mario would look out of place in any other game.
Yes.
That's where the art is at its best.
Exactly. That's where I think realism can exist in the game without being like you don't need to. I don't need you to explain why Elden Ring is realistic. It just helps create that world. It helps add to that world, because I mean, quality is important with graphics if you think about it.
Right.
Like
if you're going to do realism.
Well, yeah, but like also like Elden Ring and that, it looks very good. It doesn't. The trees and the plants and that, sometimes they don't need to look like realistic in terms of that's not a real thing.
Right.
But they're so sharp and crisp and beautiful, especially in comparison to things that we can understand more normally. If I see a really hyper realistic tree, that's what I was just saying, and then I compare that to like a hyper realistic like Elden Ring flower that isn't real, but because it's within the frame of reference and stuff I know in the real world, I feel like it sort of does help me go and understand it all and enjoy the whole aesthetic experience.
Right.
I'm not saying they're putting realistic like people and flowers and like swords in Elden Ring to trick you into liking. I just mean like it's picking and choosing in a way that like immerses you. Right. I think that's a realism. That's a way it's used to heighten immersion.
Yeah.
Because by using things that you do know in a very high fidelity way, you can then sort of more understand and immerse other things you don't know.
Yeah.
God that grafted isn't real,
No.
but he exists in a world space that my brain can perceive it.
He would be real in.
Yes,
Aye.
yes, yes, yes,
Aye. It's like the mushrooms are real to the Mario people.
yes.
Like it's real in that world.
Exactly.
And that's how we need to think about it.
Mhm.
If it's like an artistic game or even if it's a more real game, it's like that's real in there.
Mm-hmm.
The clickers are real in Last of Us.
That's exactly it. I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, maybe there's not a problem with realism. There's a base level fear. It's kind of like I talked about in that other recording we did about like there's no issue that Pixar's going to only ever make sequels, but
Aye.
there's enough of a trend where you're like, okay, let's make sure we're keeping.
Aye.
Let's make sure we're keeping a wee finger on this.
I don't know when.
Don't
like,
sacrifice it.
I think
Don't sacrifice other things.
there'll be like a peak where we'll hit that like we can't make it look any more real.
Mm-hmm.
It is real now.
And at that point, we'll just immediately reverse.
Aye,
The next
so
best game will be how different can we make it look.
maybe.
We have the technology
Yeah.
to make the most fucking. I mean, Elden Ring's another because the technology that Elden Ring has used to create that type of world, these beautiful fucking castles and lakes and fucking rotted landscapes and the most bizarre creatures and that, like that's we'll hit the inflection point for realism and then bounce right back and it's like right, let's just do some fucking crazy shit, bro.
Yeah, and there will always be people that never try and make it as real, and they just
Yeah.
try and do their own thing.
Nintendo.
Great example, yeah.
That's another example of Nintendo just being on their own level.
Mm.
They just don't give a fuck. They're like, Mario looks like Mario.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll be slightly sillier than other times. The most they've iterated on Mario ever is like making him slightly more fucking rubber hose animation-y.
Yeah.
And even then, like, I mean, you compare like Super Mario Wonder and then the trailer for that Mario and Luigi Brotherhood ship. I was going to say Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed.
Mm.
And like, those are two different types of Mario and Luigi, but
Yeah.
they both are obviously him.
Mm.
And but a Nintendo game feels like they did actually think they've got those fucking visionaries and like, what if this one looked a bit like this?
Aye.
Instead of like what if we made something realistic?
Well, it's like, oh, we're gonna remake Link's Awakening. What if we just make it look like wee dolls?
Yeah.
But
Like, how can we translate a fucking
Yeah.
GBA like style game? We're not gonna make it look realistic. But like, what's like?
and then like we're like, oh, the last game we did was Skyward Sword. Okay, well we're just Breath of the Wild's gonna look completely different.
That's a really good point. Like they did try realistic Zelda. We got like Twilight Princess, and I mean I think people were a bit iffy on it, but like it's as if they went like we did one. We maybe they'll come back and do another one.
Oh, it was as realistic as it could be.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
They could probably make a more realistic one.
But they instead of trying to make the next game more realistic, they're like, we'll just try something different this time.
Aye.
Or someone else was like, see for this one, why don't we do it this way instead?
Aye.
Which is great. That's great.
Keep it fresh.
Like it does just keep you feeling great. I wish someone like that would be working on Pokemon.
Wow.
I wish the Pokemon team
Wow.
would have that.
But that's not Nintendo.
Yes, it is.
No, they just publish it.
But Game Freak is Nintendo.
I mean, basically, yes. For
Come
all
on,
intents
come
and purposes, yes. So they should just get that together. Really.
Oh, did you see they're saying so they've not revealed the developers
For
of Mario and Luigi Brothership.
and they think it's Game Freak.
No, they think it's Ilka who did
Who is?
Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Listen, but Brothership looks good.
That's true. The BDSP never looked good, so
There you
sorry to
go.
get a leg up on it.
Exactly. And it's not based on an already existing game, which they should have done instead of the other ones.
That's true.
So all signs point to yes.
All signs point to like potentially playable.
Potentially good.
Man, let's have a wee look. Actually, do you have anything else to say about realism?
I don't know. I think we had it. We like dug as much as we could
Meaty
dig.
points, bro, didn't we?
We
meaty
mined for
fucking
gold.
points.
We may have found dust
We may have found dust.
instead of gold, but we'll
Bro,
see.
games are dead.
Games found dead. Jeff Keighley. the
I
killer.
just got a wee list. I kind of wanted to see if there was anything we really sort of missed or anything that's worth a wee chat
Okay.
off of this sort of Summer Games Fest situation.
All right.
So I'm just sort of having like a wee look through if anything jumps out at me. I mean, Lego Horizon Adventures, I think that's funny. I said how wild it was that we're watching a Nintendo live stream where fucking
Yes.
PlayStation Studios pops up.
There you go. But here we are, Lego.
Oh, here's a good one.
Lego
Speaking
gaming.
of games that are too realistic, and also speaking of movies that will never ever come out, Star Wars Outlaws.
Star Wars Outlaws.
That is-
Aye, it's a game that's coming out.
That's definitely a game that will absolutely not look anywhere near as good as it does in the trailers. That's the ultimate false
It might
advertisement.
not. I don't think. I think it's got a bit of the Starfields happening where it's like, oh, we're just going to give you a planet and it's not going to be a full planet. But that
I feel like they're at
I
least
think
not
it was ridiculous.
pretending it's not though.
Well, I think it was ridiculous for people to assume Starfield was going to do that.
Or if Starfield was going to do that, they'd have shit to do. It was like No Man's Sky.
Yeah, but like, I don't really know. You said it looks rough.
Wait, oh, it was.
Aye.
Oh yeah, someone actually
But-
playing it said it wasn't actually as great as the trailers made it look.
Yeah, like I don't really know. I haven't really kept up with it like that. But I don't know, man. Really don't know. Like, it's a Ubisoft game.
Well, yes,
What
as
do
we've
you
discussed,
expect?
I'm going to be playing it because I love a Ubisoft game.
It does.
I've talked shit about Far Cry this episode, but I love Far Cry.
It
I
does.
Love, they give me a big open world and they say,
He will
go
still play it.
climb up that tower and go defeat that base, and I'm like, yes, sir.
And he does.
I love it. It's like junk food. This is what how Martin Scorsese talks about like fucking Marvel movies. Far Cry to me is not necessarily that good of a game.
But
in
we
itself,
all
but it's so
partake
much fun.
sometimes.
It's just fun to jump in, pick up like a fucking bow and arrow, and it's like, go to this camp and take it over, and I take it over, and I'm like, you did it. And I'm like, fucking short-term dopamine, like,
Let's go.
quick and easy wins. It's also got Lando in it.
It does. How it was, man? I don't know. I think it's gonna like review pretty well, and then I don't know, man. It'll probably get like 2 sequels for some reason.
If it's Ubisoft, they might just have it locked in.
That's true.
Civ 7 get announced, that was fucking wild to me. I'm a big Civ guy. I'm a big
Civ
strategy
7,
game.
cool for the people.
They're doing a new Batman Arkham game in VR.
They are. It's a sequel to Origins.
I don't know. I
think it
don't
is.
care.
Yes, they're that
Stop.
catcher.
Stop.
Hello.
Not you. Them.
No, let
Rock said
them
it. Stop.
cook.
Yeah, it's Ratcatcher's like the main villain.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm pretty sure
not
it's a
the
sequel
cute
to
one
Origins.
from the James
Yeah,
Gunn movie.
if it's not a sequel to Origins, it's a prequel to Origins, but it's in the
I think
Origins
it's a
time.
sequel to Origins, but not in terms of like it's literally a sequel. It's more of a this is like early doors Batman.
Right.
I think it's a sequel. I think he's got like a Robin. I don't know. I'm afraid to look at it. I'm not going to play it because it's exclusive to the Meta Quest 3, which I don't have yet.
Exactly.
We're thinking. I'm thinking of getting a VR.
A VR, nah.
Probably a Meta Quest.
Nah, not yet. Maybe never.
Maybe never.
I don't know if I like VR.
You're not getting on the train?
Nah, I think it would make me sick.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just
So would a roller coaster.
like gimmick to a level. The Wii was great.
Okay.
VR feels like a gimmick
Bold
still.
take. The Wii was good.
Like I don't know. Bold take, the Wii was good. Wii U. Ooh.
Well, I think it's because right now VR games are like not that in depth either.
But they're still like that. The Meta Quest is pretty close. They're still pretty good.
Well, yeah, but they're like very limited experiences. Like,
yes, I
because
need the template. I need the big VR game.
I was going to say we're still because we're also thinking about VR. Obviously, VR itself is almost like a new extension of this whole realism, this graphic immersion. But like we're thinking it in terms of concrete video game stuff. Like we're thinking about it in terms of real life, like how much does it cost? Like if you're charging me like fucking 50, 60 quid for a game that's like a quarter of the length of a 70 quid game on a PS5.
Aye.
Like we need VR games to become deeply like richer, like actual experiences. I need to see what people are saying about that Horizon game on the PS5 VR because that was like, no, we're actually going to try and make a game here. Again, it's probably not like 50 hours.
Aye.
But it's still like actual game with like a whole story and a whole explorable sort of zone, and it's not just like a railroad. Or if they're not that, then VR games are almost like playgrounds, and that's another reason why it kind of feels like a gimmick.
Yeah.
Because you're playing for like 15, 20 quid, but it's just a toy room. Now, don't get me wrong, that's why I want it. Me and Rebecca have been watching clips of this one game.
Right.
Walk around and just do shit in.
Right.
And, like, craft spells and do little magic and just pick up shit and chuck it around, and things make noise, and that's the novelty. The novelty is just being able to like grab a thing and throw it and like have things react to your actual touch.
Yeah.
But it's still just a 20 quid toy room. It's still just me going into a room and picking shit off the shelves.
Aye.
The game.
Yeah.
Half-Life Alyx was probably the best we've ever gotten.
Right.
Because that was it. It was so full of detail that you could just pick up and play with shit. But there is also, by the way, there is a game to play over there. Like there is a story. There is actual things going on, characters, like a full narrative. It's like a lot. It's like a big game. It's like not like huge again, not like fucking half. Like probably shorter than like the same length as probably one of the Half-Life episodes.
Right.
I think maybe around then, probably not any longer than like Half-Life 2, for example. But
right.
It's like a proper experience. So I'm kind of wanting to get in VR just for the fun of it. But I think you're right that we're still not there yet. It's still not reached the best of what it can do, which is fair because it is still fairly new. If you think about it,
games are fairly new as well.
What have I got here?
Among Us.
Bro, Sonic X Shadow Generations. I'm in on that. Fuck you.
I did. I think I slept and I've missed that one.
Bro, did you ever play the original Sonic Generations?
Is that the one in the DDS?
It's on the 3DS and the home consoles.
I don't think so.
It's the anniversary one where every stage is just like for another game.
I don't think so.
I loved it. It's literally one of my.
So that's on the Switch now, but with Shadow.
It's on multiple consoles, but with Shadow. Essentially a port of the original Generations, but they've created an entire new Shadow story, which is like the main focus for everyone.
And that's what's coming out.
Yeah, October 25th. And it's interesting because, yeah, it's still got all the good base game Sonic Generation stuff from the... I think it's from the home console version. It doesn't look like they've ported the 3D... Because the 3DS has exclusive... It's a whole different set of levels and bosses. However, the Shadow story includes shit from the 3DS version.
Right.
So I think it's got Radical Highways stage, the Biolizard boss fight, but it's got its own stuff.
Yeah.
And trailers, I think it's a Rail Canyon for Sonic Heroes. I'm like, well, that wasn't in either of the original Generations. This is a completely new stage, but from an old game.
Okay.
Which I like. I'm here to be fan service. The Generations was released for the anniversary. It was designed to just be a big celebration, and it ended up being like the best game.
Fair.
We're playing Dune Awakening.
Dune Awakening.
We're going into the alternate history storyline where Paul Atreides is never born.
Unsure.
I will become Lisan al-Gaib.
He is going to become the Lisan al-Gaib.
So you haven't played Alan 2 all the way through yet, though, have you?
No, I watched the streams.
Yeah, because obviously they get the DLC.
They get the DLC, 3 episodes of Night Springs, and then there's one more to come.
What's separate for the 3 episodes?
Yeah, I think it's like the Lake House or something.
Is the Control update out yet? Or whatever the Control... Because Control, was that not getting something to tie it directly to Alan Wake? Or is it
That's
Alan
right,
Wake's...
I had an Alan Wake episode.
Okay.
And then Control 2 is the next game as far as I know.
I was going to say, bro, I'm excited. The fucking Alan Wake Control crossovers are just real.
That's it, and then we'll get the Max Payne remakes, which I don't know if they are. They're probably just Rockstar, or is it Remedy? I don't know.
Surely it would be Remedy.
No, but they sold a Max Payne 2 Rockstar, I think.
They sold a Max Payne 2 Rockstar?
Aye.
I
Because
didn't know
Rockstar
that.
make 3. Remedy don't make 3.
Oh, so they do, you're right, actually. Oh,
Remedy might hold the rights to 1 and 2
fascinating.
to remake them, but I'm not sure. But they're getting remade as well.
That's good to know then. They should come back. Max Payne, we miss Max Payne.
The boy.
Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter.
You're a Monster Hunter's boy game, what's your thoughts?
I'm big on that. I'm excited. It is... Oh, I think it will be the next generation. So it'll be like the 7th gen of Monster Hunter as a series. Or if not, it'll be the end of the 6th gen. It looks pretty interesting. It's more of the world stuff. So if you didn't like world, probably won't like this. And world's like the like easiest to get into, kind of like, oh, we're gonna cater the normies now, kind of thing, which isn't necessarily bad. But you could see maybe some of the hardcores having some issues with it. I like the weapon switching. That's quite interesting because the weapons in Monster Hunter are like simple to understand, hard to master.
Okay.
They've got loads of like intricate combos and like things you can do together in the systems. So having to maybe learn 2 is quite daunting.
Right.
So they might simplify the weapons slightly, but we've not seen a lot of it yet. What we've seen, the sandy stuff, the jumping about on the wee circuit, I think it's called. It looks good, but I need to see more at Gamescom in August. I'll be there.
Man, are we getting advertisement there?
Aye, they shouted out.
More. I've actually, like, I'm not holding this against you, but I've told you before, it's weird. I don't know if I like those types of games. Like, because we played Dauntless, for example, and you said I should maybe try. Was it World you said I should try? You said I should try a Monster Hunter game.
Rise is on the catalogue right now for PlayStation, so that would maybe be like the easiest one to like just jump in straight away. I don't know, like Dauntless is trying to be Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter's the best one of it. It's like playing a Soulsborne and saying, I should never play Dark Souls.
There's so many games, like Wild Hearts and that, there's so many games that are, like, I feel that the Monster Hunter franchise is in a bad spot because no many games have found a way to make it unique yet. They're all just a worse Monster Hunter.
Well, Monster Hunter's got its own like specific charm. Like Rise is like very much try to be like over like kind of Fear Japan kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's like the monsters reflect that a bit, the areas reflect that, and like the home base area reflects it. World's like, I don't know what style it is, but it's not that. So like
something.
Aye, but it's got its own sort of coherent realism, for lack of a better word.
You're right though. You're right.
And they all have like it's got a very specific style, and it's not. It doesn't take itself kind of seriously. It's kind of quirky in a fun way. So I don't know if you'd enjoy that more than like the gameplay necessarily.
I think with the gameplay,
the gameplay, I'd say, is closer to like a Dark Souls than most other things, but it's not an insurmountable challenge in the way that some of those can feel like.
Do you know what it is? It's grinding, and I'm not saying those are grindy games, but I know these Monster Hunter games, you're not just essentially like you're hunting down beasts. You're sort of getting the parts to your crafting gear, you're upgrading gear to then move on to the next level of beast type of stuff. I mean, there's more to it than that, of course.
It's like, if you don't, like, I'll explain the gameplay like this. The purpose of it is to fight the monsters. and it's to fight the
To hunt
monsters.
the monsters.
To hunt the monster in Monster Hunter. What concept?
Fuck, they got it, bro.
The purpose is to do that, to get more gear, to upgrade the gear, to fight the harder monsters. But the way you would enjoy it would be interacting with that monster. So like you find one you like fighting, and you're like, okay, I like moving. I'm finding this fun, this engaging with this monster, and then you're using whatever weapon it is, and you're trying to find cool and fun ways to interact with that, to then beat the monster. That's so if you don't enjoy that kind of gameplay,
I guess,
then you probably won't enjoy
I
the
can
game.
definitely see why people would like that. I think my biggest fear, for some reason, more and more recently, I'm getting sick of like super repetitive actions. Although, no, do you know what? That's a lie, because I play fucking Far Cry, and I somehow have a great time defeating the same boss. It's just shooting people with a bow and arrow. It's just this time it's in a fucking community centre, and this time it's in a fucking factory.
I would say like, it's not like you're maybe overestimating the grind.
I think
not
I am.
that grindy.
100% think I am.
Like, sure, if you need this one jewel that drops only from a head break, and you don't get it for like 50 runs, you'd be about miffed maybe.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're never going to get it. I mean, it is RNG at the end of the day, so you could get a terrible run, but most of the stuff for like crafting weapons and armour is not that difficult to come by.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff you get just from like exploring the area, not just fighting the monsters.
Yeah, I thought that too. It might be something I'll give a go at one point actually. Then I've got too many things I want to play first, but yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to hear from you that like I'm maybe overestimating the grind. I suppose I'm comparing it directly to Dauntless because that's the most experience I've had.
Well, Dauntless is a different experience as well because it's a free to play.
I was about to say,
so it has
exactly that.
It needs you to play it all the time.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter's a full game.
Yeah. Do Monster Hunters have like an end? Like, do you beat like a final boss and like end the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the base game of Rise is you're fighting Magnum, but that's not actually the final boss. Like, there's an actual story of that. So the story is like Magnum came down and he's like made the fucking monsters go crazy.
Yeah.
But there's like a fucking elder dragon higher than that that's
shit.
like doing shit.
Making them
So that's like the final boss. So what you do is you go through low rank, right? Then you do high rank, and at the end of high rank you'd fight that boss.
Right.
Then the DLCs come out, and that's master rank. So that's even harder. And then that's got its own wee story after that as well. So Malzeno, flagship of the DLC, isn't the final boss of the DLC.
Okay.
It's like another dragon. Shit like that. But there is
like
I'm
full of confidence. It's another fucking dragon.
It's another monster. Yeah.
No.
There's stuff like that.
Monster Hunter monsters are always quite fun. Every time I see a design, and you know, like they're cool.
We'll try to make them all kind of different. Obviously, you've got like the Rathalos.
I was gonna say, I know Rathalos. They
like
put that in fucking Smash Bros.
Exactly. So they've got like the ones that are like recognisable, but they all try and design them different ways. There's specific like games have ones that are never coming back because it was in that specific game.
Oh, that's fun. They
had a full Chinese only like MMO one, and there's one monster for that in Rise DLC, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's mad cool that they brought that back because they shut it down.
Yeah,
you can't play it anymore." But it had exclusive monsters only to that like you'd only play if you were in the MMO.
If you're in the Chinese MMO,
yeah, so you might never see it ever again. Anymore. Exactly. So crazy stuff like that. It's bigger than you think it is, like the series, especially over there.
No, it's always
that. Kind of niche here.
I acknowledge how big it is over there. Like when I first started to hear about like themed video game cafes, that was a Monster Hunter one. I know they fucking love Monster Hunter in Japan, do they not?
Bro, the amount of crossovers they've got is insane.
They do,
like on in Generations Ultimate on the 3DS and the 3DS and the Switch, there's like a million crossover things you've got.
I saw a couple of them watching like a video once about Amiibos, I think it was. They were like, "Oh, you can get this in this Monster Hunter," and it was always just weird. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
There's actually, we could watch after this. There's a video like this that goes through all the crossovers, and it is just quite mad.
I do love that.
To think the amount of crossovers.
I might pick that one up. I love that. That kind of reminds me, not exactly, but because obviously with popular Japanese culture, they do just love to do that.
They do love a crossover.
I watched a video that I might then show you back, which is could you survive on Evangelion merch?
Bro,
because
survive on Evangelion merch?
Like when you wake up
sleep,
and
drink.
you're in Evangelion bed with your Evangelion covers, with your Evangelion pajamas, you go to your bathroom, use your Evangelion soap, your Evangelion razor, your Evangelion toothbrush and toothpaste. Like, I'm going out on a date with my girlfriend today. I'm going to wear my Evangelion suit. I've decided to propose with my Evangelion, like official real wedding Evangelion, ring. Like fucking wedding rings that are like thousands of yen. We're going to go to the either the Evangelion pop-up cafe or the Evangelion bowling alley, like crossover, shit like that. Like drive my Evangelion car or ride my Evangelion bike.
That is Amazing.
Like that, I love that shit.
That's crazy.
So much.
To live your life that way is mad.
But I'd
like,
love to see if I was in Japan and they were like just selling me shit like that. Like the amount of Pokemon shit I'd have would be unhealthy.
yeah, you'd
Or
live
like
in
if
the centre.
Lego was like a Japanese brand and they just made like Lego. I mean, we get like Lego salt and pepper shakers and like Lego cups and that's cool. Well, imagine living in Japan and it's like you can buy like a Lego razor
Yeah.
and like a fucking Lego like fucking door frame and like a Lego fucking set of shelves. Put your Legos displays on and then fucking your fucking Lego candle, your Lego scented candle.
Lego scented?
Yeah.
What's that
Like
smell like?
burning plastic,
Oh
bro.
my god, no.
Fucking clogging up the fucking environment. I've also got, so I've got here now the Xbox showcase, which they don't really consider
Right.
part of Summer Games Fest, but it also just was.
Yeah.
Looking to hear some interesting ones. Fable is still allegedly real.
Fable, yep, the actual, look at full trailer this time.
I can't
Which is
believe
cool.
it. The game's coming out.
I liked Fable 3, was the last one I played. That
I
was the
have
last
a
one
lot
that
of
came
friends
out.
who are big into Fable, and you were one of them.
Fable 3 was really good.
I've heard so.
Yeah.
But it's always been Xbox. I know I've never touched Fable.
Yeah. Very quirky, aye. Like
Yeah,
funny
well,
fantasy.
I've seen some clips and they are very like, yeah, it's like high fantasy, but it's also like just comedy.
It feels like how I imagine a Terry Pratchett novel is.
Oh, that's a really good way to describe it. I
Like,
think that must be
If I
what
had
they're
to
going for.
guess, something like that, yeah.
There's a Perfect Dark game coming out,
Yup.
which is insane because they announced an Xbox convention Beyond Good and Evil 2 like 900 years ago and just were like,
And Perfect Dark got announced and then has been shown before that. So there you go.
like, how the fuck?
There you go.
That's
man.
insane.
Yep. It looks quite good, man.
It does look quite good, actually. I did kind of like it. Did you watch or have any thoughts on Black Ops 6?
It looked great. I like the time period. It's sort of, is it like, it's after Vietnam, maybe something like that. Mason's in it, I think. In Black Ops 1.
The numbers, Mason, what did they
The
mean?
numbers Mason, I think, yeah. I looked quite good, yeah. I'd be interested, but like, will I play it? Probably not. But it's Black Ops, it's Treyarch, so it's like the good
It's
zombies.
the good ones, yeah.
Yeah.
How you say specifically the good zombies?
Aye, it's the good zombies.
Like, it's also gonna have. I've always found it funny how the zombie mode is the proliferation. Like people will make or break it on the zombie. You fuck the Black Ops, who cares? Has it got zombies though?
Like multiplayer's going to multiplayer, and now obviously Warzone's going to Warzone.
Yeah.
But like the zombies mode is what makes the Treyarch games better than like most of the other games, is because it's just got this whole other like thing you can do that's got its own mad secrets and lore that's totally
I
different
do
to
like that.
the
to
main
be fair,
story.
actually. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a game that they're
I
claiming will
thought
release.
it looked quite good.
I think it's like Outlaws. I'm like, this
I mean,
game looks
that is
amazing.
just, it was
It's not
just a
coming out
trailer.
in that
With,
state.
like it was like a trailer, and it was like a cinematic in the game we saw.
Yeah,
It wasn't like gameplay we saw.
which is weird because the first trailer had like gameplay, but then it was like it's like faux gameplay. Do you know what I mean?
I think it could do alright.
I think it could be good. I am convinced in my heart of hearts it's not releasing this year. If they're able to that game to be finished and get out this year in a playable state, I'll be surprised. That's all.
Okay.
But I'm keen on it. It's one of those ones, like I said, where I'm like, oh, okay, I have accepted I'm not getting this in the PS5, so if it's good, then good for them. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Although if they did port it, you know,
Maybe
I'm
eventually.
not complaining.
If not, it'll come launch day. Maybe.
You know, Dragon Age is back.
Dragon Age.
They're releasing a Dragon Age game.
There wasn't. It was a
It's a weird hokey ass art
it was a
style.
non-gameplay trailer, right?
Don't know about gameplay, but I
Okay.
feel like it was one of those like very handheld guided like gameplay type ones.
Aye, but most didn't do that.
Most of
to
it
be fair.
also most of it was non-gameplay, but there was a couple of just shots of like here we are
I
in like
can't
this
remember
area.
much of that, to be honest.
I don't know enough about Dragon Age to
I've
know it's
not done a
hokey.
lot of Dragon Age, no.
A lot of people I know who like Dragon Age are like, this does not look like Dragon Age.
Right.
So
okay.
don't know how that'll go.
We're rebooting the series.
I think it's just good to know it's back. To be fair,
Okay.
where's Mass Effect? We know they're working on that shit.
Not there.
New Gears of War.
New Gears War, cool.
Doom the Dark Ages. To be fair, I mentioned that earlier.
Mm.
Big excitement.
Big excitement. Damn.
They were saying this game is more of a spectacle game. It's a wider open air environments. We're a lot more focused on the combat and the killing.
Wider open environment.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't know if I like that for a Doom game.
It depends on just what we're working with here and how the game fully runs. I don't think they said it's open world. I think it's just more like maybe you're more likely to just get chucked into an environment and maybe have some levels are like just task levels. So instead of like from A to B, you just like, okay, you've to hit points A, B, and C on this big map, but you can work your way through it anyway. And
right, yeah.
I think they talked about the scale. You're gonna be fucking churning away through a lot more fuckers.
Damn. Are we gonna ride a medieval Doom horse? I feel like we might.
No, but you do have a flying dragon and a giant mech suit.
The mech suit will help, yeah.
The Outlands are in it. There's a flying dragon.
The Pacific Rim.
There was gameplay. I watched the trailer. There's gameplay of the dragon like fucking do like flying about. And yeah, they were like it's focused on like just mulching and like melee. I think they're a bit more like This isn't going to be like a game of like fucking quick swapping pulse rifles. Do you know what I mean?
But
Like
that's the second game.
Eternal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And I like Eternal. Well, first game was also a bit like that, but this one's more like, you've got a shield and a fucking sword, and yeah, you've got guns, but like it's not. It's medieval. It's the Dark Ages. You're not using a fucking laser rifle. You're using a fucking contraption that crushes bones and fucking shoots it like flechettes, like a bone shard launcher.
Yeah.
And like you fucking swords and fucking fists and mechs. Just it seems it's a lot more of like a raw game, like a get in there and fucking churn shit.
Doom is always
this. Is like you are the weapon. This is you during your peak fucking murder era.
Is this before Doom then?
It's before Eternal in 2016.
Right.
I think this is before he gets locked in the cabinet when he was like fighting for the
This is when he was the Hellwalker, the Doom
Yeah,
Slayer.
when he was I think it was either right before or during when he's working with, I can't remember their names. I need to replay Eternal. Like the guys in Eternal, you meet like this group of guys, like noble warrior men who like worship wolves, and it's like we had the Doomslayer for a while. He was actually on our team.
Right.
Like we found him when he was like a transdimensional fucker because he was enraged after the events like Doom 64.
Like
so actually 64. 64's canon. Doom 1, Doom 2, and then Doom 64. Then Doom guy at the end of 64 is like, I'm just going to go into hell and stay in hell and just start killing. Like, I'm done with this shit. I'm done with these fuckers coming in. I'm staying in hell to just keep killing them until they stop coming back. And then in Eternal, they established that he essentially, like, he basically, because hell is like a nexus. Like, all realities share hell.
Right.
So basically, people from another reality or like another dimension came into hell to do their own, to fucking fight them. And they just found this guy, or sorry, he found them. He basically just fought his way through hell till he was insane and fucked up in the head, just like, rip and tear, kill. And he just stumbled out of a portal into their reality, and they found him, and then they're like, you're a fucking weirdo. But then he basically just fucking killed demons, like fuck. And they were like, dude, we fuck with that. We respect that you're just out here crushing skulls of demons. So they got him on the team and made him like a pure crusader, like an Argent Knight.
Yeah.
Argent Knight. Is it the Argent? Anyway, that's the thing. He joins these guys.
And that's the story almost.
Well, they get corrupted
Dark Ages.
by... Well, that's one thing. I think that might be the story of the Dark Ages. They have this like hermetic order, like this like religious order who gets corrupted by heaven via hell. Hell and heaven are kind of working together.
Right.
And they corrupt the order because hell's kind of and heaven are like expanding. And the whole sort of order falls in on itself, and the Doom guy and a bunch of cool guy knights get like sent to hell to die essentially. And I think that's what happens. The Doom guy just keeps fighting until he's eventually pinned down and sealed away, which is where you find him at the start of 2016.
Yeah.
So that I think Dark Ages is that, like when he was like a cool guy crusader, and I'm do you know why that is right? Because the mech, the Atlans, that's their mechs, that's the wolf guys' mechs. Yeah, so you're with the wolf guys during Dark Ages. I've just talked myself into it.
Damn.
I'm trying to think of any of these, like I'm talking about the big name games, but I'm trying to think of anything jumped out at me otherwise.
Not a lot of big name games.
I won't get to play it, but like that Avowed's kind of interesting.
Okay.
I skipped the trailer for Expedition 33, which is like it's an RPG. It's like a turn-based
Yeah,
thing.
it looked quite interesting.
Yeah, gorgeous.
The combat looked interesting.
So everyone's like raving about that.
It might just be that it looks like a bit different to like normal menus.
It's just different, so we're appealed by it.
It might be. I mean, I don't know until I play it, but it looks like a nice turn-based combat system,
I can fuck with that.
which can be boring, but hopefully it's good.
Fallout 76 Skyline Valley, let's go.
True.
Life is Strange, fucking Max is coming back.
Do we need it though?
No. Metal Gear Delta, Snake Eater.
Looks good. Just looks good. I don't know where else to go with that, because like it is literally the same game.
Yeah, well I was talking to my...
It's the script, right? It is. They've confirmed it is actually just the same lines. We're just making it look better.
I have a friend who's big into Metal Gear at work, and he said like, yeah, it's confirmed to just be a straight remake.
Aye.
I said I
think David Hayter may have done like a couple more lines or something.
Yeah, they probably got him to like do like pickups of that. I was saying that my biggest fear is like having this happen without Kojima working on it. But
well, that is what's happened.
Yeah, but that's what my friend was like. Oh, yeah, I get that, but luckily they're not doing anything. They're not creating new lore or changing anything. It's just the same game. So I'm like, okay, well, at least they're not iterating on his work. It's just all of Kojima's work, as you say, they're just making it look nicer and play a bit differently.
Yeah, I think though that could still affect it in some way.
Yeah, I mean, having Kojima's that type of guy where like, yeah, he had his finger on everything. So to then take his finger off it, it will invariably impact it.
Like there's the way they've animated this one cutscene.
Yeah.
There's this one look that just changes the complete meaning of like this one thing.
Yeah.
From the old version.
100%.
So definitely there will be 2 versions, but
I'm
you probably play Delta.
Yeah, right.
Probably
I
will
think it
play
looks nice so far as well. To be fair, it doesn't look like Silent Hill 2. That's like in a weird state because that's just like that's Death by a Thousand Cuts. That thing. I think at its core, that Silent Hill 2 remake will probably be like just a remake.
I don't think it'll be very good.
Well, I don't either. I think at the bare minimum they've shown us so far, they're just changing so many little details. And it's like if a fucking PS2 game could manage these insanely layered details, this rich storytelling, this real thing, and a fucking we're a big naughty fucking beautiful high fidelity PS5 remake, and you're taking shit away like because you think that's better for the aesthetic, when fundamentally, even if that was aesthetic challenge, I mean some of it was and some of it wasn't. I mean like changing that lass's outfit to be less sexy is just a problem because the point is that it's sexy. But like people are moaning about like the level of mist, and it's like that was like maybe it was a graphical limitation of the PS2, but also it was part of the fucking narrative. So if you think that like we can
use the limit, it couldn't load all.
Well, exactly.
So it used it to benefit the
story.
story.
Example, but if you think that okay, well now we have the technology where we don't need the mist to hide loading zones, it's like yeah, but no, the mist was part of it,
adding to the atmosphere.
What was so good about games like Silent Hill, like 2 and like like they were able to tell such a good story, and they used the limitations to. I mean, we've talked about this with like horror movies, and it's always fucking horror as well. Like Evil Dead, like original Star Wars, you guys were working in certain constraints, and your response was like, "What? How can the medium shape the story? How can the story shape the medium?" Now it's like, well, we have the power to do things better than they did back then, so we're just going to flat do things better without little regard for what the lack of being able to do things better was doing for the thing itself.
This is why sometimes restrictions are good.
Yeah, no, 100%. Everything I've seen about Delta so far, because Metal Gear Solid 3 did look very good at the time anyway.
Aye.
But Delta so far is just like, no, we're just going to take what's already there, and we're just going to like paint
the controls
it
will be
slightly nicer.
better.
Yeah.
It'll look nicer.
We'll tighten up to
There you
modern
go.
sensibilities, but we're not going to actually actively change. We're not going to change a person's design. We're not going to edit the level or something. We're just going to have that thing look in a more modern art style.
Aye.
But like, we're not even then. Like, Metal Gear Solid 3 already looked one way, and like, yeah, we're going to put an extra layer on top of that. Silent Hill 2 looked one way, and these guys are like, well, we're going to make it look slightly different to work with better hardware. Delta's not doing that, seemingly. It just seems to be, because that 3 already tried to be less, you know what Kojima's like? I think if he could have made like Metal Gear Solid 1 look how 5 does, it would have.
Aye, yeah.
Like, they were obviously working with their limitations, but he obviously wanted it to be that way because Kojima wants to make movies.
Yeah,
He wants to make real life movies, games. So like 3 was already trying to look as best as it can. So by just ultimately using technology to make it look even nicer, like to be honest, if Kojima didn't hate Konami, I think he'd be like, cool.
Maybe.
Like,
That's the like Konami in a hard spot because you've got Metal Gear, which is like one of the biggest gaming IP that you could like recognise, and they can't do anything with it. It's like the old games, they can't bring one back like that because all the Kojima fans would be like, we're not playing it.
Yes.
And that's majority of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't, and so they need to like. That's the only way to keep the old games relevant is to remake them and just try and pray that they're fine with being as close as it can be.
Yeah, I guess because you don't need to do too much.
Yeah.
3 is just a polish.
And then when you get to the new ones, if they ever do them, which they probably will, they just need to hope that they get someone good enough to do it.
Yeah, that one's fair. Up to and including Metal Gear Solid 1. I think once you get to 2, because 2 was the same. 2 again, 2 isn't like that bad compared to 3, but
yeah, 2, they're pretty close.
I was going to say, so like I think you could do a Delta remake of 2. Although, no, because 3 is beloved.
You're more likely to get one remade first.
Yes,
After
but
3,
that's a harder sell because there's just a bit
well, they
more
might
to
just
that.
do it in timeline order, so then it would be one next.
It would
Right.
be, yeah. Well, it depends on what you're remaking here. Because Metal Gear Solid 1 comes after Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yes.
So are you just talking like...
I mean, like the
if we're
original
remaking just
ones,
the Metal Gear Solid games,
aye,
then yeah, it goes 3,
might get the PSP ones.
5,
I don't know.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
No, 3, 5, 1, 2, 4.
Right.
But then, yeah,
Before second, aye.
do you include like fucking the portable ops?
Aye, because that's before 5 and stuff. So like, what then? Peace Walker.
Peace Walker, aye. Peace Walker's before 5. Portable ops is before Peace Walker.
See, so
After 3.
But yeah, like I think if you're doing the
Do
Master
we
Collection,
remake Metal Gear?
no.
Ha! They just permanently locked to.
Aye, if we do the Master Collection one, if we're just remaking those main games, it would do one next.
Metal Gear 1 and 2 are on the
That's
Master
what
Collection.
I'm saying. So we've done 3, which is the first.
When would Metal Gear 1 and 2 be? It would be 3, Ground Zeroes, 5.
But they look good enough, so it's no problem.
Yeah. Then it would be Metal Gear. Would be Metal Gear 1 and 2 because
Like top down one.
fucking Venom Snake is like the enemy of 1 and 2. And then it's Solid. You don't think we remake Metal Gear?
I don't think we do, no.
But not without Kojima. Not without my Kojima.
Aye, because you couldn't.
He's not coming back.
Couldn't they just remake them and make them look better? Because it's a
you
different
have to
game.
fundamentally change the game.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's what I said. Do you think they could fundamentally do that to Solid 1? That's what I'm saying. I feel like Solid 1 is where the line hits, where you're like, no. That game is PS1. It looks fundamentally different.
No, they
that's
could
like the
remake
masterpiece game.
Yeah.
But you think they would still take a go at it?
Aye, they just do it with Dimitri, I think.
You think they could do that?
They could do that, yeah.
But
and just
sorry,
keep the gameplay
not that
the
you
same.
think they are able to. Do you think they could successfully do that?
If 3's successful, yeah.
Okay, right. If
If 3's well received and it's not got too much backlash, yeah.
I mean, you think
Definitely.
we can do it with
I think it's
we could try it with 1.
100% going to happen if that is the case. If 3's well received, then it's not an issue.
That's very interesting.
I think there's no doubt they're going to do that.
What do you think they call it? Metal Gear Solid Alpha?
Well, maybe because it's Delta. It's just Delta. It's not like Delta 3. It's not like.
But Delta is 3. That's the point.
Maybe,
Delta's the third one.
maybe it is then.
I don't know what alphabet it is though. Is it Greek? No. What's the Magnet Warriors? Are they Greek? Alpha, Beta, and Gamma.
I have no idea.
I thought Delta was 4
don't know.
actually.
It's a triangle. It's got 3 sides.
No, actually, yeah, I'm wrong. Delta is the 4th letter of the Greek alphabet.
Bro.
But what you just said there might be it, yeah. It's a triangle. It's got 3 sides and 3 corners, mate. Like
Bro.
3.
There you go.
Well,
I don't know what they call it, but I'm fairly certain if 3 does well, if Delta does well, they're going to remake 1 and 2.
Yeah. I think that'd be interesting. I mean, again, if it's good and if it's like acceptable and we're not stepping on any toes here.
And I mean, you could play the Master Collection. I think like the ports were weird or something for the PS5 versions.
Oh, I heard
like
this.
they ported
Yeah,
the bad ones or something.
yeah. They've made certain sort of bad liberties.
Yeah, for Volume 2 though, like that'd be cool. We'll play 4
Yeah.
on not a PS3.
Can we say that?
I guess.
That's the main point. You know, obviously, 5 and Phantom Pain will be there, but they're just going to be there. But
Aye.
to get 3 would be like aye. So just then the last sort of major one, because I say we're not talking about Sony. Sony announced nothing except Astrobot.
Yeah.
I've got the Nintendo one here, which we've already mentioned up and down.
Aye.
Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It is happening.
Yeah.
It looks like a Metroid Prime game.
They've only released Prime 1
Yep.
remastered.
Oh, remaster.
Right, so
We thought what we were saying. You were
I'm
saying
pretty
when we
sure
were listening to
they do more. I was fairly confident in that assumption that we'd get 2 and 3.
I would have been as well. I'm surprised.
I
they've
think
not.
we might because 2025.
Yes. We still get time. They could
Still
chuck
get
They
time.
could chuck a 2 and a 3 in there. Yeah.
Remaster dropped at the end of a direct.
So it
Prime 1, so like they could do that probably.
It'd be weird if the next direct also ends by Metroid Prime game.
That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Metroid's a good spot, man. Like Dread was really good. Prime Remaster was good. So like maybe 4 will be good.
Maybe 4 will be
I
good.
don't know.
I kind of started for the ground up. Like,
Yeah.
what an insane thing. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Weird.
Weird, cool.
Yes.
You can place down furniture,
Don't
so
think-
I'll be there.
Don't think I like it. Don't think I like the gameplay.
Well, we're going to get it,
And see
and I know Rebecca will probably be all over it,
fairs.
and I will definitely pick up and have a go of it to see how I feel, because it looks like something I could probably get a kick out of.
Aye.
Yeah, I played it a little bit. I didn't play the whole story, but I picked up a couple of times. Because I picked up Link's Awakening
Right.
and played that a couple of times, and I found it to be good, although, again, that was essentially an older game,
Aye.
whereas this is a new game.
You just don't Zelda very often, do you?
I don't Zelda a lot, no.
That's a gap right there, man.
Played Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS.
Based game.
It was very good.
Yep.
I've played Spirit Tracks.
Based game.
Very good. But yeah, I just don't feel the drive, I guess.
The Zelda
I don't know what it
drive.
is about it. I guess it's because it's just high fantasy. If I'm
Right.
going to play a game like that,
Mm.
I'd rather go for like a sci-fi one.
Fair.
Other
Yeah,
than
you're
like the
just
Elder
not-
Scrolls.
You're not a very fantasy guy, really.
Not really, no. I'm much more sci-fi than
Yeah.
fantasy.
That could just be it, to be fair.
And I think the Elder Scrolls gets a pass because it's like it's a Bethesda game. It's like a big open world, hundreds of
Aye.
characters to talk to, quests, that. Whereas Zelda's like an adventure game more than like an open world RPG game.
Yeah, aye. Well, it's certainly anything but the first one and like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
The open ones.
Yeah, well, they are open world. To be fair, I'd like to try Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but it's still worth getting. I like Link's Awakening
Aye.
as well when I had a wee go at it. So I'm not against it. It's just one of those like, yep, Mario Luigi Brothership I mentioned. They're really happy that that's still happening. You know, they shut Alpha Dream. We thought that was the end of those games, and then they're like, nope,
Yeah.
fuck you, we're doing another one.
I mean, looks good. I'd probably play it.
Mario Party Jamboree. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, the worst
Do
thing
you
I've
know
ever
what?
seen.
I might give it a go
Really?
to see if like I can get one with Donkey Kong.
Oh, you trying to figure out if you fuck with Donkey Kong?
A wee bit, because I played Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder?
That's not it. Tropic Freeze. Like one time, and like it was fine, but I played like a level, so like
You played one level, you thought this was fine,
it.
so
I'm really giving it a chance there. But this one's before that, so I might just get this one and play it.
Fair.
See how we do.
Oh, do you know what?
Platformers, I'm enjoying them.
I don't want to drag it all the way back, but speaking of realism, speaking of aesthetic choices, the Dragon Quest remakes, the
Yeah.
HD remake, the 2.5D remakes.
Yes.
And I said this
The
when we
HD
watched the
2.5
stream.
remake.
I fucking love that art style.
It's unique. The only ones to do it first was like, it must have been Octopath.
Octopath was like the
probably
first big
someone
one.
before it.
Yeah, I think they've tried it before, but Octopath was the biggest one to ever do it at that level of quality.
Aye, that looked really good.
Do you know what I think is interesting though? Those derive the joy of the art style comes from the specific bucking of the trend, and especially Dragon Quest, where you expect it to look one way, like that really old-fashioned retro pixel style.
Aye.
So to put those things in a hyper detailed, realistic environment, but also one that not realistic in the sense that it forgoes the fantastical elements of it.
Aye.
I think that's where your eyes are like, oh, this is like a feast for the eyes. This is like something you've just never really seen before.
It's like 9 on the DS was like wee 3D sprites in like a 2D plane, which is almost this.
Okay.
So I like that. It's giving me that vibe, and I really like 9. So it's giving me that sort of like, oh, that's a Dragon Quest game I'd like to play.
And then you're getting a bunch because they're doing, obviously it's 1, 2 and 3.
Yes, so 3 first.
Yeah, it's 3 first because apparently 3 chronologically is first.
Yeah, I've only played 1, like the original one, and it is quite short.
Okay.
So I don't imagine these to be like massive games.
Unless they're adding stuff.
Which they could add stuff,
They
yeah,
could
which would be
easily do
nice
it.
to see. So I think they work better bite-sized.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, these games, the problem is these games that lend themselves to the possibility of being huge. I think that's maybe
Well, they're huge for the time.
for the time, yeah. Like, we were talking about this, 11 is apparently like the biggest fucking game ever. Like, that game's
Aye.
fucking humongous. So it's like, I wonder if that's just the aesthetic push now, or not the aesthetic, but you know what I mean?
Just
Like,
scale up.
yeah, technology's getting better, like, capability's getting better, so we can just make bigger and better games, but
Yeah, there's only so much you could put on an NES cartridge.
that's true. Although what I was going to say there was, you know, maybe they shouldn't add too much to the remakes then, because it's like just exactly what we were saying about limitations. Those games were built the way they were, and they are good for what they are.
Yeah.
So keep them as what they were because they were good.
Square Enix, they respect Dragon Quest, sorry.
Do.
So they don't mess with it very
Square
much.
Enix do respect Dragon Quest.
I think I'd be fairly confident that no one's going to be upset by the remakes happening.
Yeah.
And how they're remade and what's put in them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll all be fine.
Well, I just got a quick shout out to the Saturn Investigations port, including the Japanese
Man,
game. that's
Phoenix
never
Wright
available.
team stay winning.
I have to say, Phoenix Wright guys are in a fucking loving now.
The
actually.
golden age of vibes.
Oh, speaking of Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, fucking that Fantasian Neo Dimension.
What?
Do you not remember it? It's the one by Sakaguchi and it's got music by Uematsu.
No. It's skipping, bro, sorry.
Skipping?
I don't remember
Bro,
this.
straight bugging. It's the one where you can put enemies in a pocket and fight them later.
This is mad, I don't remember
Do you
this.
not remember that? We literally were like, "Oh, that's fucking
I
mad when we saw that."
know, but like I don't remember.
I'm
That's
kind
a
of
fever dream game right there.
that one. I saw a really interesting thing about the art style where they had like real physical models and it kind
Right.
of almost looks like they just because it's a very classic style game. You know, you're walking
Right.
around these landscapes that've got a very specific fixed camera angle and way that you approach things. You're not like in a 3D environment where you're walking all around stuff and seeing all edges. So I saw a thing where they had like a barn, like a real little model, like a barn, and then it's like transposed into the game. I don't know if they just used the little 3D miniature model as a basis or they just like
Right.
fucking scanned it and put it in. But it's kind of funny. It's very throwback. It's Hironobu Sakaguchi. It's John Final Fantasy. And it's
Yep.
music by Nobuo Uematsu. Like
Also John Final
fucking
Fantasy.
Michael Final Fantasy.
Literally.
Like, okay, Adventure. Oh, the worst game ever made, Funko Fusion.
That looked bad.
That just looked bad.
Listen,
What were they thinking, Graham?
in every Switch presentation,
That has to
more
be-
often than not, there's always one that looks like truly awful.
There's always more than one that looks truly awful.
Funko games
I told
still
you,
trying
bro,
to game.
I told you, bro, Nintendo will just come out with dog shit games. Well, I suppose
Bro,
this is a Nintendo game.
That
This is-
eShop is a problem.
It is a nightmare, actually.
There's just so much flock on it
The
that
eShop is
doesn't
like
need to be there.
Uncontrolled nightmare.
It is.
Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, why that game sucks.
Damn.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's rude. I don't know if I made it clear when we were watching it. I like Luigi's Mansion 2. It's just
The worst one.
yes, it's
That's
far and
fine.
away the worst one.
That's
I enjoyed
fine.
playing it, especially as a 3DS game. But the problem is it's a mission based, which was like
which is why it's good on the 3DS.
yeah,
probably.
they made a bunch of games on the 3DS specifically, but like pick up and put down.
Aye.
And I know that the Switch is technically a handheld, but it's still a home console, so like I don't think it'll transpose that
It's
well.
a good in between. Like there is no handheld right now because the
That's
Switch
true.
has
the Switch is
cornered
a
it.
handheld, yeah.
Aye, it's cornered it. Which is what Nintendo always do before. So
Well, yeah, aye. I mean, they pretty much, you don't need to step
like
on
the
it.
PSP never really had it, and the Vita almost
Do you
got
know
there.
what's the same? It's a shame because everyone who was in on them says they were good,
The Vita is really good,
but you know that's it.
but it's not the
But
3DS.
it's not the
Do you know what I
3DS.
mean? Like, oh,
Which is that's a shame.
I know they give that a try.
I feel bad for
Microsoft
Sony.
never even got a figure out.
Microsoft were like fucking.
They didn't even attempt it.
Like we barely even make games that
Aye.
is, you know, like
Well, they were nailing home console at that point.
that's
That was
true.
like
To be fair, that
360
was
and
like
the one.
360 into the one, and they were really like
Aye,
the PlayStation 4. I don't think ever truly beat the one until like later on in life. I
aye.
think the one stumbled out because of that weird online only shit. But I don't think the
Aye.
PlayStation 4 was ever from the start more appealing than the one.
It was more expensive,
It was more expensive. Yep,
which is mad because the one was like £500 still.
I know.
Aye, but the one stumbled out. The 4 didn't quite get there.
I think it was
I
it
think
not
the
like
launch
was it not
games
like
didn't
400 for
Ones
the
for both
for
didn't
the
have
one,
either.
and then like 450 to 500 for the for the PS4. And yeah, the games weren't great for the PS4, and people still
Even the Xbox games weren't great either. But it had
true.
like Forza, like everybody played multiplayer games in. Like FIFA had exclusive
Yeah.
like, legend cards.
You had like a Halo on the go, like Guardian
Halo
surely
5 was
that
there.
long.
Aye, Call of Duty
Halo
was
4
on
was
it
the
straight
Xbox.
away.
Sorry, was Halo 4 on the Xbox One, or was that the 360?
That was a 360.
Fuck, that's weird. That doesn't feel right to me. But
There you go, bro.
5 wasn't that long. I think if the 5 wasn't a releasable one, we
Aye,
knew 5 was coming when the one got announced.
pretty close. Aye.
And I'm sure we could assume we were like, oh, we might get Ratchet and Clank, we might get this on the PS4, we might get that on the PS4. But by the end of it, like the Xbox One just never really did much, whereas the PS4 just kept making really good games.
Aye, that built momentum.
Like Halo 5 came out, and I mean, you would know more than me, but
I don't really even know more than you.
I
to
was
be honest.
going to say, do people not just say 5 just wasn't really that good?
I don't know, man. I think 5's okay.
I can't remember.
But
I
that's
feel like
me
people said
knowing,
the
like-
story was a bit choff for 5,
Right.
but I
That's
don't
been
know
known
much.
very little about 5.
But I don't know much
And
about
Halo lore in general. Like I played 3 was great. But that's all I've got.
Everyone played 3, and 3 was great. I played
Facts.
3, Graham. Like,
3 was
I
great.
watched my dad play 3, it was great.
3's so good.
Mentioned I said that as well. I just want to acknowledge how cool it is, the Marvel vs. Capcom collection.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to take you for a ride.
Bro,
The amount of people who care about that are so excited, and it's so good to see.
fighting games.
Aye.
That's because they want a new one.
Well, it's true. That true. They might come up with a new one. Or they'll port Infinite and people have a great time with that one.
I don't know, man. I think Infinite might be alright.
It's just not.
Is it not? Is it really an
No,
issue?
it's just not.
Ah, damn, bro.
I'm
Sorry.
afraid that, like,
Bro.
see, you're like, I should try Infinite. I'm just like Kevin Costner.
No,
Like,
don't do this.
it's just not very good. Alleged. Like, the
That's
streets are
fair.
saying, I'm afraid.
That's fair.
Oh, man, the 100-line last defense. Sorry, remember that one that was like, that's just Danganronpa?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's a good
And
game.
it just is. Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it kind of just is,
Aye.
essentially, yeah.
Okay. Despair.
That was really it. The Romancing Saga 2 remake, which actually looks kind of cool.
That did look kind of cool, I think.
There's a bunch of RPG games that I feel like when Sony and Xbox happen to have like anime games on them, they all just look the
Aye.
same. I feel like Nintendo has that issue, but then they just show you something that's kind of still fascinating that makes you go, okay, well that stands out. Romancing Saga, do you remember Live Alive?
Yeah.
That remake, that was a remake as well, and they were like, yeah, you play like 8 different characters across multiple timelines, and I'm like, oh,
Mad.
that's cool. I think there's a bunch of RPG games I should sit down and play, but
Aye.
those games have the potential to take a lot of time.
They do, but I think
Hold on, I
You
don't know,
know-
I'm playing fucking Horizon Zero Dawn, sticking my face in every mud puddle,
True.
so like,
it is sort of like you're getting overwhelmed by looking at the big picture.
yeah.
But like if you just begin it in like 10 weeks, it'll probably be done.
Yeah,
Like sort of thing that won't take
that's
that
true.
long.
Aye,
But it is just beginning. That's like an issue.
yeah, it's the scale I think at the start, isn't it?
That is true. Yeah, it's like anytime I'm like, man, should just play the Final Fantasy games I've
The
got to
Final
play.
Fantasy,
But
bro.
it's like I've got 3, and then like the third one's like Rebirth, which is like massive. So
Yeah,
like I
that's
don't know
like
if I can do that.
humongous in itself.
Scary.
Saying that they took a game like Final Fantasy 7, which was already huge, and I'm like, man, we're gonna split it into 3 fucking parts.
I know.
How are you managing that?
When is it? Oh, let me think. Like 27, I think. By the time
For remake part 3?
27, 28 maybe. When did remake 1 come out? Or remake
Oh shit, when did remake come out?
19? It was same year as maybe 20. Same year as Resi 3.
I think it was 20.
It was during COVID.
Yep, April 2020.
20, and then we get
April
Rebirth.
2020 was... Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal, and Final Fantasy VII Remake in the same month.
There you go. Yeah.
Or around that time. Oh no, I think it was March actually.
Pretty sure. Yeah, because Resi was March, I'm sure.
Still, you got to admit, COVID era we were getting good video games. That's
Always,
insane.
bro. They kept us occupied. Aye, so 4 years. 27. We'll hear about it. 28 will come out.
I'm trying to see if anybody's said it. I'll just talk about like my world thing that comes out eventually. Oh yeah, but I expected around 2027.
There you go. Aye. I don't know if this one will get. I don't honestly, and this is a great win in my book. I don't know anything about Rebirth apart from the trailers that I've seen.
I wouldn't say much. I know everything.
So I don't know.
I suck up knowledge like a sponge.
True. I don't know if there's like DLC planned, like intergrade.
Yeah. I could stand for it just to do like another like Judge
But I think
Cerberus
that
or
was
like
more like a 45 PlayStation 45 thing they done for that, right?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like
Intergrade was a bit like when they transitioned to the 5.
It wasn't like we're doing a DLC. It was like this is like something we'll add.
Yeah, we're doing a PS5 version, but we're also going to actually put something in it for you.
Aye, so I don't know if that's like why they done that, and then that means
I
there
need to
won't be a
play
Rebirth
Intergrade
DLC.
and see the lore because I think it's not consequential, but it's still like it's cool to know what Yuffie was up to.
Well, it is because like you feel big.
And it references it's consequential in the sense like we now know what Yuffie's about a bit more. But I mean, it's not like you don't need to play Intergrade in a sense. It's not going to tell you like something critical about the lore of these games unless they do make the compilation stuff relevant.
Well, I think they will.
Deep Ground in Rebirth Part 3. Like,
I think they might. That's why Crisis Core got remade.
Do you know what? That's a good point.
Because why remake it? Like, what is the point pouring that resource in it?
That's a really good point. I don't know if they're going to remake Dirge of Cerberus.
I don't know, but
that game was so fundamentally different. I think Crisis Core, I think it still plays kind of like 7.
It's close. It's not remake. It's not remade to the level of remake.
Yeah, that's literally just a remake. That's like an upscale.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dirge of Cerberus was a first-person shooter.
Aye.
So I don't know if they're like, man, we don't want to release a first-person shooter in the middle of doing like turn-based or like real-time strategy and like the menus and that. And plus, they're going out of their way to fold in more overt Dirge of Cerberus references into the actual remakes. Like you've literally got Nero and Vice and like Intergrade.
We could just not, have the game but have all the stuff.
Yeah,
Explain
we're going
to
to
us
make
and
it
stuff.
better. We're going to fold it in instead of like going out of our way. Big deal.
Yeah.
Although I hope that means Vincent gets plenty of time because
he's in Rebirth, so I don't know.
He's in Rebirth, but I'll tell you this much: he's kind of in it in the way Red 13's in the first remake.
Aye,
do you get what I mean?
That happens right at the end, part 1. So
yeah,
I don't think I think we knew that from like previews and like obviously they were saying it. Like you're gonna get him.
Oh yeah, Vincent is there, but don't expect him.
You're gonna get him at the end, and like that's really it.
Yeah.
So that's fine though.
But they're all Sids in it. They've really, it's weird because they've folded in so much, but they've sort of made it work for the part that it is. Like you've got like the gold saucer, you've got like Junon, you've got like the ancient city, but then like Sid appears more often because he's like a travel guy, and like Yuffie's got shit even though you can't go to Wutai yet. What in the fuck are you doing?
Just crossing over,
Man's just like fucking trapped the microphone
folding
between his legs,
bro.
I'm keen to see what Rebirth Part 3 does as well. Like I know where we are in the story and where we could go in the story. Although again, Rebirth Part 3 just ends with like some fucking shit. That's like what's going. So Rebirth Part 2 ends with like some shit. Sorry, I say Rebirth Part remake Rebirth.
Whatever the third one is.
I guarantee. I know they called Crisis Core. I think they would be fucking fools to not just call it Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Because that's literally just the thing from the game.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know what other R we could do, but we're doing an R. It's definitely an R.
Final Fantasy VII Rambunctious.
Revelation. I don't know.
Revelation's not even a bad idea. Reckoning. That's potential.
Could work. The Meteor. I don't know.
Final Fantasy VII. Ridiculous. That we still make these games.
This guy. Final Fantasy 17. When?
Bro, Final Fantasy 9 remake when? Come on. We know it's real.
That is happening, I think.
We know it's real.
Yeah,
hello.
They did kind of be like, oh.
Woohoo, hello. Also, my list basically over. It's the classics as well. Turok is the Metroid Zero mission. Fun enough, Perfect Dark.
Metroid Zero mission, man. Nah.
Did you play any of the old Metroids?
I played one on the 3DS through like the Wii.
Or did you play the remade one or the Virtual Console one?
The Wii Virtual Console one.
Oh, nice, okay.
And one's just like an NES game, so that's like hard to play.
Yeah.
Just in general. For anyone not of that era. 2, I played the remake Samus Returns on the 3DS for like a bit. Never beat it. I played Zero Mission on the Game Boy.
Okay.
Because I had bought it and it was quite good. I got quite far. And then I played the remake of one on the Game Boy. No, that's Zero Mission.
Oh yeah.
Fusion.
Yeah, Fusion.
I played Fusion and Zero Mission on the Game
Zero
Boy.
Mission's the remake. Fusion's the one with the weird
Zero Mission's like really good. It's like getting an extra epilogue bit thing where you play as like Samus in the Zero Suit and like do some cool stuff.
Oh, I
like
never
that.
knew about
So that's like the best way to play, I'd say.
that. I've never played a Metroid game,
Never,
like ever.
man.
But okay,
Like
I'm
that's
convinced I played like maybe 2 minutes of one because in Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii, they had this thing where you could like you when you unlocked characters, they would be like, "Oh man, do you want to play a little bit like the original game?" Like you could play like Mario Bros. 1, and I presume it was like fucking Zero Mission or something,
Aye.
or like Virtual Console shit from the Wii. I think it was one of the better ones. It was one of the ones where everything was a bit like smoother. Like it couldn't have been one. It had
They
to
might
been,
have
like,
just
two
made
or
it
on.
for that. They might have like, remade that level
Or
for that or something.
It was possible as well. Actually, I don't really know enough about Metroid to know what I was playing.
Mm.
But I always think I'd like to play it.
Well, you're sort of like skirting around like Metroidvania as a genre thing that's been created.
I'm like hovering. I'm literally in orbit of that.
Like you've played Hades, which is like it's a different look, obviously.
Yeah.
Like camera angle wise stuff.
But
like
that's a Metroidvania. That's more of a roguelike than a Metroidvania.
But like you're in the ballpark.
Well, yeah.
You're near it.
Plus, roguelikes also share an orbit, I think.
And then like Never End, which is different to Metroid. Like it's obviously got like a point you get to.
I think you can come off the roundabout of Metroidvania and go into a roguelike.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that. I'm doing circles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get off the roguelike one because I do like Hades, but it's the same Monster Hunter thing. Even if Monster Hunter doesn't have this grind, it's like those are games that are based on grind. That gives me fear. I don't have the commitment to. I need to beat. You need to beat Hades 30 times to actually get the true ending of Hades.
Yeah.
And I've beat him like 3 times, and the amount of effort it takes for me to play that game now, because I know what's coming and it's just doing the same thing again and again and again with very little difference other than maybe try to change the weapon and seeing what I can do. Metroidvanias I do want to get on. I want to play probably Axiom Verge. I want to play not Hollow Knight because it's stinky poo poo.
Wow, man! Wait for Silk Song.
I want to play Blasphemous. Actually, I told you that I want to play Blasphemous.
Yeah, Blasphemous is good.
I'd like to play Metroid to close in the fucking name. Like, I'd probably pick up something like maybe like Dread.
Dread's really good.
Oh yeah, Dread is like the pure return to form, but it's obviously like the fresh. I feel like it's probably an alright access point.
Yeah.
Metroid's one of those games where like
it's
I feel
the
like
best that's played in that realm.
Yeah.
Before like, it's probably even better than the 3DS one.
Yeah, I've heard.
Movement-wise and stuff.
I think that was like if you were able to get that as a really good game to play.
Yeah.
My Metroid guy Nerl, he kind of was like, I think he basically critiqued the 3DS one, and it was like, however, you go fucking buy it and play it, because you bastards aren't buying Metroid games, and we're not getting new Metroid games as a result. But obviously it's a bit harder for me to get that now. So yeah, Dread might be a lot of chunk, because I feel like the Metroid games also, they have stories, but I've never once felt like those are like you have to play this game as a sequel to this game.
Well, like
Prime.
Dread opens, it's Metroid 5. It's not like Metroid Dread.
Oh, okay.
Like that's the title.
Metroid 5?
It's the 5th one.
Okay. But then did you play that thinking like, oh, the events of like 3 and 4 are like I'm so glad I knew what happened in 3 and 4.
It helps it. It's not like integral. I mean, it gives you the rundown.
You probably enjoy it more if you knew the story. I just feel like it's not like Prime where it is literally sequential games.
It's not quite like that. It's more like loosely tied.
Yeah, like if you played 4, you'll know why Samus is here and what Samus is doing. But ultimately,
like,
every game is just Samus is trapped in a place.
It's not quite like sequential. It's not quite like Wind Waker connects to Twilight Princess. It's not like that.
Oh, it's also not like very loose connections either.
It's sort of in between them.
Okay. So yeah, it's not like you absolutely must have played it, but if you did, you'll obviously get plenty from it. The games function exceptionally as standalones, but they exist in a web of each other. What's 4? What's Metroid, Metroid 2, Metroid Fusion? Because Zero Mission is just a remake of 1.
Must be 4 then, yeah. Must be 4.
Okay, I don't know Metroid games enough to know. I always get confused. I just think Zero Mission was like a separate game from 1.
So it's 1, Zero Mission, 2, Fusion.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is it.
Did you know that the villain in Echoes is from the Federation Force shitty 3DS minigame game? They were like, you need to play it. It will be relevant to Prime 4.
That makes me happy a little bit.
I think it makes a lot of people angry.
That's quite funny.
I think if you played Federation Force, you're like, I'm a truther. You're like fucking vindicated.
Nobody bought it. And that's why we don't get Metroid games anymore.
I was going to say, nobody bought it, and that's why they had to cancel
Nobody
restart
bought
Prime 4.
the Metroid pinball game on DS, and everyone's upset about it.
Remember the pinball game? We should get more shovelware on that. I know like there's a lot of bad stuff on the Nintendo Switch store, but like they're not like clock. Remember when the 3DS had like funny clock and like pedometer and like the Metroid like clock and the Metroid pinball? We just don't get shovelware like that anymore.
I know.
It's always
'cause
like a
the Switch
game,
doesn't update as OS ever.
That's true.
We were always like, oh man, I'd like to update this home screen, get like some customization. It's never happened.
No.
Switch
no.
2, don't worry.
Bro, the Switch 2, that's what's next. What's next, Graham? The Switch 2?
We'll hear about it one day.
That's
End of the
a
year,
thing
maybe.
that will be happening. No, I think it's in next year. They said, obviously, they announced in this financial year, they said it was like, when the new financial year started in April, I think they said, like,
We'll announce it.
we'll announce it at the end of, or in the next financial year,
And
which will
it'll come out
So, yeah,
next year.
I think we now know it's definitely going to be announced by or be announced in next April.
Aye.
Because they were very blunt about it being tied to the financial year.
Yeah.
But, like, I love how they announced this direct. They're like, we are not talking about the Nintendo Switch predecessor.
Yeah.
Do not ask us about the Switch 2.
Stop.
Oh, man. But, it's maybe a good time to be a gamer. Games are coming out.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I have to play
It's
games.
always good.
I have to finish the Lego Movie 2. I have to finish
He
the
used to do that.
Fallout 76 Skyline Valley.
I need to die in Elden Ring
You
modes.
have to die.
What? Oh no.
You have to play the Elden Ring Shadow of the Ord Tree.
Yes.
You have to fight Mesmer.
Get my shit pushed all the way back in.
Literally, because apparently it's just the hardest thing they've ever made.
Oh man, I'm excited.
You should be. You should be Elden Ring prepared to die.
Yeah, yes. It always is a bit like that. I'm scared. I probably won't be that scared. Like when I start playing it, I'll probably be better than I think I'm gonna be. But there's also a chance I'm not that,
That's
and I die
possible.
loads,
Yeah,
and I'm upset.
it's true. You might have to just stare down the barrel. Like, I just need to respect my entire situation.
That could
I
see
have to go back to the main game and just fucking grind again.
bro. That could see happen, and I'm scared that happens. But hopefully not.
to be beat down and told your build shit.
Literally, just embrace the big funk hammer. Jump.
He's
attack,
using
build.
rivers of blood, guys. Like, even I know that's like pussy behaviour. Like,
Bro, what?
bitch boy.
Man's using fully upgraded mimic tier.
Man's getting mimic tier. Man's getting
Stop.
fucking black knife teacher and like
Bro,
on standby.
I'm walking in there with like gang. Do you know what I'm
Gang.
saying?
Me and fucking
As
and mimic
much
tier.
people as possible.
Absolutely. Mate, bro, I'd fucking. That's how I want to play Elden Ring if I
I'm
get in there.
summoning the boys.
I can be a guy who just brings up other guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Let me solo horse going through all
why
the
have they not added that to Destiny? When did I add Necromancers to Destiny? I know I can put in like a turret as like stasis. Can I not just with like the next fucking subclass is just like a summon other guys?
Maybe it is, bro.
Just fucking like fucking you don't. I don't have any grenades now. I don't have any supers. I just have like fucking like summon another guy.
Bro, maybe Destiny 3 is that. I don't know.
Bro, Destiny 3
We'll see.
it better be fucking race. Like, but that better. I want to play as a Cabal. I want to play as a
Bro,
Cabal Warlock.
Maybe. It could happen.
Like, what the
I
fuck's
don't
happening
know.
there? A fucking fallen titan.
You
Or
might
do we
need to
call
be
them fallen or do we call them Elixni? Is it racist
We
to
should
call them
call
the
them
fallen?
Alexney, but they're still called fallen. I don't know. Maybe you need to be human-sized Cabal just for like hitboxes and that.
Fuck
but,
that.
like,
I want.
nah.
Maybe you can do like maybe make PvP separate then, or
Right,
like,
yeah.
or like have like or you have a free for all.
Just fuck
Fucking
it, man.
PvP, where it's like fuck it, you're just gonna get munched by a fucking big fucking Cabal guy, but like that, you better have fucking spec for that, bro.
You've got like extra health, maybe.
Like, yeah, I'm a big Cabal guy. I got a giant hitbox, but I'm also a Cabal Titan, so like I'm essentially
Bang.
just the wall for Spider-Man,
Yeah, like
and
you
no one can stop the wall.
You
Like,
cannot stop me, bro.
that's the game plan in it. Did you ever see the video of the guy in Elden Ring doing a fight club, and his build was like, I can't remember the exact way, but had the dual like rock fucking gauntlet things.
Right.
So his defense was just fucking cracked to the moon. He literally was constantly over encumbered or whatever you call it in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So he couldn't run. He would just slowly walk to every opponent.
Yeah.
But they just could not kill him because his defense was fucking mulched.
Bro.
And he would just slowly walk up to them and just fucking clobber them. They played like wrestling music through his mic and that or something like that.
That's amazing.
Or you could be like the fucking bar drinker from the Germa streams. Just
Oh.
completely naked, albinoic mask, chuck mud. Like, win.
You could be, bro, yeah.
I am in the Destiny 2 Crucible, the Destiny 3 Crucible as a fucking just an unstoppable, ungodly force. When you see me as a fucking a Titan Cabal doing that Titan charge thing, like I freak out when I have to fight a human-sized Titan doing that. If I see a
Man.
fucking Cabal charging me, I'm
Jesus.
like fucking shitting it. I'm like, fuck off. What the
Dude.
fuck is my golden gun gonna do now?
Man is going to rename his PlayStation account to Dominus Gall.
I'm gonna become Dominus Gall. If I can play Destiny 3 as a Cabal member, I have to. You need to fucking grasp.
Has
I
to be.
will become Dominus Gall.
Facts, bro.
Like,
Facts.
I will bring back the Red Army on Destiny 3, and I will have a fucking Legion at my head.
That is what we'll have.
Or if I
I'm
can't
here
do
for
that,
that.
I'll just be like fucking the Emperor as well.
I'm here for a drink.
Dripped in fucking gold.
Emperor Callus.
Fucking golden. My golden.
Oh,
I would just do that. If I could cosplay as like a big fuck off like Cabal guy, I'll be Kaital. Fuck it. I'll be whoever you let me be. Just let me be Cabal.
Please.
Those guys are cool.
That's based.
It's like you want to be a Krogan in Mass Effect because the Krogans fucking smash fuck and eat all the puss.
Yeah.
The Krogans are the coolest fucking guys. I mean, they eat puss. They don't get pregnant, of course. Sorry, Genophage. Who wants to be a fucking Solarian?
Where are we going here?
Like fucking,
What the
I'm playing
fuck?
the Mass Effect 3 fucking multiplayer and I'm a Solarian because it's tactically advantageous.
Yeah.
But if I was in Commander Shepard's shoes and they're like, oh man, do you want to be like a Solarian? I'm like, no. Like, do you want to be like a Quarian? I'm like, no, I take one bit of damage, I'm dead of a fucking cold.
Yeah, man, the Quarians have got it rough, bro.
Would you like to play as a Krogan? Why would I not be a Krogan? What biological advantage does anybody else have over a Krogan?
Feelings, I don't know, bro.
The Turians are good at shooting guns, so are the Krogan.
And we shoot them, and then we punch them.
Like I was going to say, oh, the Turians can play with sniper rifles. Cool. I will run in there and I will grab a Reaper by the skull.
Yes.
As a Krogan.
And crush the Geth with my bare hands.
Literally, what is a Geth going to do against a Krogan?
Man, nothing, bro.
What will a little multiplayer, a Crucible server, a little like, oh, I'm an Elixir rogue fucking like sniper. I'm a fucking, I'm a Hive fucking Titan. I'm like, I am a Cabal. I am the Cabal.
The Cabal.
I am fucking marching. I am storming down that fucking thing. I do not think. You're like, oh, I'm playing with like this fucking hand cannon or this pulse rifle, and I'm like, I have I have a hand and I have an auto rifle. I am dual wielding auto rifles because I am so fucking large. And like, you can hit me. Oh, I've spec this, you know. I've min max discipline. You know, I've got the build. Yeah. And I'm like, my build is to kill you.
To kill your build.
I'm killing you.
That's
like,
my
I'm
build.
coming in there and I'm fucking beating you up. And you're too busy in your menus. Like, I gotta fucking do this. I have to spec this. And I'm fucking running down there. I'm like Alex Jones. And I'm angry. And I'm coming. And I'm like storming down there as Dominus Go. You're getting your fucking arse beat by Dominus Go. Worrying about specs. And worrying about fucking progging. And I'm sat there like, do you know what I did? They gave me an armor bit that had a power level one number higher than the other one, so I equipped it.
And that's what I done.
They gave me a shotgun, and it said, this is a shotgun, it has incendiary bullets, and it's got the biggest number out of all the guns in your inventory, so I equipped it because it had the biggest number.
I love this. I love this guy so much.
I'm a brute force it. It's like when that little bit where we played Dark Souls 3, and I just fucking ran Dynamite.
Man just ran the black firebombs.
Black firebombs.
Facts, bro.
I was like, do you know
it's
what?
a good strategy. He's weak to it.
What are you going to do, realistically?
Man's weak to it.
I beat Adex Gundyr like my third try.
Let's go.
Apparently I'm good at the game.
Ovs.
Just chuck down. Chuck some dynamite.
That's all you have to do.
Chuck some fucking black powder bombs or whatever. I don't think you could stand up to me if I was Dominus Skull.
If you were Dominus Skull, there's no chance. I'm dead.
I was going to say,
I'm dead, bro.
I'm redefining that game.
Facts.
And I'd love to play it with you. I'm just Dominus Skull. You are probably like, I picked Hunter. You know, I really spec'd it on this cool like fucking stasis build.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Graham! Another glorious day in the Red Army.
Hello.
Like, hello. Like, welcome. And I'm like right into the microphone.
Meat is back on the menu.
And you're like, oh bro, we're gonna go over here and kill some like fucking Black Garden.
Oh, Vex.
Vex.
Fuck up
Bro,
some Vex.
fucking, we gotta fuck up like a Vex fucking educator, a fucking lesser embalmed golem.
Yeah.
Or the fucking ones we're fighting in Season of the Echoes, the fucking what the elite perceptive hobgoblin.
Yes.
I'm like, yes, I'm like picking up a fucking like a Hydra and like throwing it across the map. Like,
bro.
You're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna like trigger like fucking golden gun.
Yeah.
I've got a perk on my exotic, and I'm like, my exotic is punch.
And it does 1 billion damage.
Like, what are you gonna do? What is a Vex gonna do if Dominus Gold charges him?
And punches him in his little Vex face.
So Bungie, I know you're listening.
Get on it.
Get on it. Fuck this Seasons of the Echoes bullshit.
Listen.
Fucking Destiny 3, I get to play as a Cabal.
We don't care about, what was it? What was it? Expedition or something? Next year, we don't care about that. Just make Destiny 3. Come on.
Who fucking cares?
Let's play as Cabal.
Expedition is just Destiny 3, I bet you.
Nah, I had the
D2 logo.
But maybe Maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll become that. Maybe
I
Marathon
mean, they're
flops.
making it so you can play as a ghoul in Fallout 76 next year.
True.
That's not Fallout 77. Like, that's 76.
True.
So they could just be like a
Facts.
Destiny 2 update, but you can just be a Cabal now.
Maybe.
You could just be an Alex now. Or I
Perhaps.
guess a Hive, because we've got fucking Savathun on side, possibly.
Maybe. You can maybe be a Hive. I feel like episode 3 will deal with that. You might not be able to
Do
be
you
a
know
Hive by
what?
then.
You know, like I could be a Cabal, or I could just become Zol of the 1000.
You could become a worm god.
I think, you know, that's very Dune.
Little worm god a little bit.
Little
That's
worm
very
god.
Dune. Extremely
I
Dune.
could just become Shai Hulud. If I could become like a fucking Titan Hive, just worm guy.
Chris knife
I'm not
in the
even
pocket.
saying I physically become a worm,
Aye.
but like, you know, again,
I'm just into worms.
like if I'm rushing down there as a Hive Titan, like, you know, I'm screaming shit like for Zol, like I fucking
Yeah.
I speak
I'm for
for
him.
the 1000.
Yeah.
Like,
He's my guy.
you're shooting me with a gun and killing me, but like you cannot beat my will.
Yeah. It's indomitable.
I mean, that's why the dominance goal thing works. It doesn't matter if you kill me and the numbers go up on your screen,
Yeah.
because you cannot stop my
You
spirit.
cannot stop Dominus Goal.
Like, I fucking,
You
I
will not let
I
up.
will win the war of the mind at
Yes.
that point.
You may win the battle.
My team are probably fucking in love with me. I don't care. I mean, okay, unless they're like high-end PvP players. They're probably in love with me. If we're playing like casual PvP, casual Crucible, and I'm like, come on, brothers! Like, for the might of the Red Legion, like, I am the Dominus Gold reincarnate, and I just stomp into every fucking battle.
They'd
field,
love
and I get shot dead.
Yeah.
But like, not 1 second do I ever falter.
Yeah.
Like,
They're happy to
live,
be
we
there.
die, we live again.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
his name,
For him. Let's go.
I serve only one God, and his name is Zol, voice of the 1000. Like,
Do it for him.
that's what I want to play. I want to roleplay games, Graham. I want to roleplay in games more. Everyone who roleplays
Fair.
has more fun than me.
They do enjoy it. I've never been able to do it, but they really enjoy it. I could do it to an extent, but like,
I gotta get involved.
fair, bro. Manage to write the backstory. Do the voices as you're playing.
We
do
have
it.
to play D&D, Graham. Like,
If you want, bro, we could do it.
I'm trying, bro. I'm out here trying. Oh. Okay,
Damn.
I reached the end of my statement.
Okay.
My pre-prepared statement.
Mission statement over.
Yeah. Games are good. Games are coming out. We're playing games.
Yes.
I think that's us.
I think so. Yeah.
Another good day. Another glorious day. And
Oh.
Dominus Gold's army.
The sun has shone upon
The
us.
sun is shining upon us, as it often does for
Always.
for us members of the Red Legion. Yeah, I got nothing to say. It was a good time. I had a great time talking about video games.
Always.
I love video games.
They're good. Pretty good.
Allegedly.
Some of
Do
them.
not play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I beg you.
But the DLC.
No, not
Don't
but the
even-
DLC.
Damn,
More like
man.
but the DLC. BUTT.
Ooh.
But colon the DLC.
Poo poo.
Play. I'm looking at my shelves. What's a funny? Play the Lego Movie 2, the video game.
Sure.
Now on PlayStation 4.
Do it. I guess.
It's just came out, unfortunately.
It just came out.
Well, yeah, I'll wrap it up. We'll catch you guys at some point in the future. We'll have other things to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll probably get things to ramble about.
Mm.
And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Graham.
Yeah, Shane. Thank you.
And I will catch you fuckers in the future.
Goodbye.
Bye!
Scenes is a fan-created podcast. We have no affiliation with any of the brand studios or properties mentioned. All views are our own.
Produced and edited by my partner, Rebecca. Music is provided by Epidemic Sound, and the cover artwork was commissioned by Rhiannon Kagoe on Twitter or Instagram.